looked like the last 3 hours at Coors Field. First the rain came, and it really rained, and then it decided to hail. How much hail? How about an inch? So much so that home plate umpire Laz Diaz was making a snowball at one point. But finally it is cleared up, and Mark Razum and his crew have done a remarkable job. I've never seen so much water on this field, and now it looks pristine once again. And almost 3 hours later, we will have first pitch, about 2 hours and 40 minutes to be exact. And we welcome you back upstairs with Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman. Ryan Spilborghs will be along in a moment. That's a long rain delay, but fortunately, I think most importantly from a player standpoint, it's still a great crowd that hung in there. We're going to have baseball players want to play.
They do. They don't want the off day. They want to be able to play. They're here. And the good thing about it, too, is we showed the field a moment ago. The good thing is you had about an hour to prepare mentally and physically to get ready to go tonight.
Let's go downstairs. Ryan Spilborghs joins us. Spilly, wasn't all that long ago that you were playing on this surface, and I know it's a great surface. Take us through any of the precautions that a player may have. First, an outfielder. I know you didn't play in the infield, but you're certainly aware of what those guys go through after a lengthy rain delay.
Well, you always have two sets of cleats. You have your plastic spikes and you have your metal spikes. And on a day like today, the water on the field is going to be there. So you're going to wear your metal spikes today. The reason why most guys wear plastic spikes, it's easier on your feet. It doesn't hurt as bad. But tonight, you want to make sure you don't lose traction. You want to make sure when you're on the base pass today, you're not slipping and sliding. So you're going to see a lot more guys today in the metal cleats.
Ryan, thank you. And from a pitcher standpoint, Huey, it's Eddie Butler against the veteran left-hander Jay Happ. Their routine wasn't really thrown off because it's not as if they started warming up and then all of a sudden the rain and the hail came.
Yeah, that's the key, that this was all put on hold, if you will, for a while prior to even starting to get loose for Eddie. So everything that he's done prior to stepping out on the hill was done in the same amount of time that he normally would do it.
That is Ezekiel Carrera getting ready, and here are the numbers on Eddie Butler. And I don't think it's unfair to say this is a very important start for Eddie. He's struggled as a starter by and large.
Well, the last two outings for him, one coming in relief of Tyler Chatwood, the other one he threw a career-high 106 pitches. In 8 1/3 inning, he's given up 20 hits and 12 earned runs. The fastball is getting hit at a 352 clip. The one pitch that he's had success with is the slider, and that's about 250 batting average against, but it is a very important start for Eddie tonight.
Well, there is again Ezekiel Carrera. It's the same lineup for Toronto and John Gibbons as they rolled out last night, with the exception, of course, of the pitcher. And here is the Southwest batting order. Devin Travis, he hit the ball very well last night. He had a home run in the first inning, later added a double. He'll bat second in front of last year's MVP in the American League, Josh Donaldson. Edwin Encarnacion had a big night. He had 2 home runs, his 20th and 21st. Michael Saunders, there's Tulo. He'll bat 6. Russell Martin 7. Kevin Pillar at center field batting 8. So we are ready to go finally after a long rain delay. And for all the folks at home that have bounced around but hung in there, we appreciate it. The Rockies have won 3 straight, trying to make it 4-0. 4 in a row, and all time they are 7-0 at Coors Field against the Blue Jays. Of course, the Blue Jays could brag that all time they're 9-0 against the Rockies at the Rogers Center.
Here at Coors Field, the Rockies have outscored Toronto 43-18 in those 7 games.
Here's the 1-0, and that pitch is at the knees. Talking to Steve Foster for a while before the ball game and Darren Holmes. Strike one and getting in good counts is just paramount tonight for Eddie Butler. And it is for any pitcher, I understand that. However, for Eddie in particular, because when he gets up with that sinker, it gets hit a long way. Yeah, and at home, he's given up a lot of home runs per 9 innings pitched, almost 2.53. What a play by Trevor. And the hand looks just fine. That's what he was concerned about. Would he be able to grip the baseball? And obviously, he gets tested early, and he's just fine. You knew this was going to happen because they waited to put out the lineup to see what Trevor was going to be like during batting practice.
Was he going to be able to throw? And even before he stepped out on the field, you could see him throwing. Everything looked good. But then when you get in the heat of the action, as we see on the Subaru Supermo, things speed up. And is that finger going to hold up when you go to release a little extra pressure on that baseball?
That bounces up there, ball one on Devin Travis. And as you said, Walt waited to see how he checked out. And as Walt was talking to you and me in the afternoon, 2-0, he was eyeballing at the same time Trevor Story throwing the baseball. We were doing the same thing. You can tell the ball's coming out of his hand cleanly. He wasn't looking at his finger every time he threw.
And that is key, and that's what you want. You want to put your own eyes on a player to see what he is feeling out there.
And yesterday, Trevor Story took batting practice, so it wasn't like they were unsure if he could hold the bat. They knew yesterday he passed with flying colors that he could hit. It was going to be the throwing. I think that's as important as anything when that's one of the most important positions on the field. Shortstop, you got to be able to throw the ball across the field.
That would be a huge piece of it. Obviously, this ball's hit pretty deep right, but Cargo's going to make the catch, and you can still see some standing water, I think, out there in that right field corner. But I didn't see a bunch of splashing, Spilly, when Cargo was going after that baseball. That's a good sign.
It's a great sign, and Mark Razum has this field where it drains so well. After being here for so many years, we always knew that if it rained enough, then maybe the game would be canceled. If it didn't rain, it doesn't matter. This field can take a ton of water, and we saw it tonight.
I'm curious, and we'll have to find out how much rain actually fell, because it would not surprise me if somebody said 3 inches of rain fell in that hour and a half.
And it was coming down in buckets, and then you add the hail on top of that. They were having to scoop it off like it was a snowstorm.
2-0 on Josh Donaldson. Officially, it's a 2-hour and 41-minute delay. 2 hours and 41 minutes officially. And another 3-0 count.
Well, something Josh Donaldson does, and you can see he'll load up his bat and he'll create a bigger angle. So when he loads up the bat with his hands, he can create an angle with the bat. The farther he can create it, the more bat speed he feels he can get. So in this count, he's going to leg kick and create a much greater angle than he normally does.
On the corner, and now it's 3-2.
Eddie was smart to go to a cut fastball on the outside of the Subaru strike zone. Don't feed him a cookie.
See, it's pretty muggy now after the rain fell. Eddie got a good lather warming up in the bullpen. 3-2 on Donaldson. And he went slider, he missed. So Donaldson walks. He has an on-base percentage of close to 400 this year, 396, which is 4th best in the American League. David Ortiz, Big Poppy, leading the American League in that department. Brandon Barnes in left, Charlie Blackmon in center, not in the original lineup. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Cargo's in right. Arenado, Story back in there. Adames still for LeMahieu, though DJ's real close. He can play tonight if needed. Mark Reynolds at first, Nick Hundley again with the gear on. So DJ, I would expect to see in the starting lineup again tomorrow. He is feeling much, much better. Went through all pregame activities.
Yeah, he was much more, I would say, jovial for DJ than he was yesterday. Yesterday he said, man, this still hurts. Today he was a lot more confident in how that knee was feeling.
0-1 on Edwin Encarnacion. 2 home runs yesterday, and the sliders bounced up there. That's the other thing that Steve Foster and Darren Holmes were talking about, similar to what we saw John Grayfellas do yesterday. He's got to be able to mix his pitches and throw them all for strikes. So Spilly, you're not sitting there and eliminating 2 pitchers right away. And I don't care who you are and how hard you throw, you're going to lose effectiveness if you become a 2-pitch guy.
Well, then you just start hunting fastball above the belt.
That's on the ground, deep short, and it's a great play by Story. I couldn't tell whether Nolan had gotten that on the dive or it was Story. So Butler, with help from Trevor Story, navigates the first frame. We'll see that Rockies offense, which has been on fire, when we come back to Coors Field. Late night start at 20th and Blake. Rain delay of 2 hours and 41 minutes. And Charlie Blackmon's going to lead things off against the left-hander Jay Happ. Here's the Southwest batting order for Walt Weiss. Now, before the rain delay, Ryan Rayburn was in the lineup. He was a late scratch, not feeling well. He took batting practice, but he has a little stomach bug going, what we've been told. So Charlie Blackmon is back in the lineup. Walt was trying to get Charlie a day off, but he got the late call. So Blackmon is in there, and the Rockies reshuffled the lineup a little bit. Christian Adames, who's on deck, was originally leading off. Trevor Story was originally batting second. Now he's batting fifth.
Walt wasn't giving him the day off because it was Jay Happ and a left-hander. It was just he thinks that Charlie's he's been playing hard since he's come off that DL. He just was trying to give him a day off. It just didn't work out with Ryan getting sick, so you get inserted back at his normal spot.
You know, a lot of times when that happens with guys, that's when they go out, you know,
get 3 or 4 hits.
Yeah, have 3 or 4 hits and 3 or 4 ribbies and have a banner day. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jay Happ's been very effective. He's won his last 3 starts. He's 9-3 with a 3.42 ERA.
And he's allowed 3 runs or less in 6 out of his last 7 starts out on the road. So Jay Happ's done a lot of things in his career. 71 wins in the major leagues. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. The one pitch that he really likes to use is a big curveball.
This is looped to shallow center. It'll drop, a base hit for Blackmon.
Yeah, see? There's the one of the first 3 or 4 that he's going to get tonight. Took 5 pitches in, and almost on cue, he throws a curveball. That one was a hanging one on the Subaru Supermo. Charlie deposits it into center field.
So that'll bring up Adames. What a ball game for Christian yesterday. Single, double, hit by a pitch. You know, you think about the bench guys in yesterday's ball game, fellas. Adames, Descalso, and Barnes, 3 guys that are spot starters, typically come off the bench. They were combined 6 for 12 with a hit by pitch. So they're on base 7 times out of 13 plate appearances. 3 ribbies, 3 runs scored. Barnyard's been red hot. He's in there.
Well, and last night for Christian, that was his 5th start at shortstop. He throws out a nice single to start the game, and then the double to left field, the left center field, and this really helped to kind of get to Marco Estrada.
Two O's in there, 2-1.
But just on this homestand, Christian 4 for 11, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, and flawless defense at shortstop too.
Ever since spring training of this season, he has been such a quality at bat. You know, we talk about Trevor Story and the season he's had. Christian Adames very easily could have won the job as a starting shortstop for the Rockies based on his spring training.
Yeah, he was terrific. Of course, Trevor Story was otherworldly. Both guys performed at a really high level. Charlie's going to draw another throw.
Huey, how hard is it to be an infielder that doesn't get a chance to play? This is his 10th start of the season, but how do you keep working all the different infield positions to keep a good rhythm?
Yeah, that's a great question. Every day you've got to go take ground balls at another position and try to take him off the bat too during batting practice to simulate the speed of the ball coming at you, because hitting him or getting him from a fungo hitter is not the same as taking it off the bat. And that's what I watch Christian every day. He'll take his ground balls, but then he'll also work during batting practice. First step, where's it go? How does it look?
Is there an easier read for an infielder from a certain spot?
I think shortstop or second base is the easier ones.
This is going to be a problem also for Toronto. A base hit and an ill-advised throw. Blackmon will not be able to move up, though. I don't know what Devin Travis was thinking there. So back-to-back bloop singles, and the Rockies are in business against Jay Happ here in the first, with Arenado coming up.
Devin's lucky that he had Russell Martin backing up, because once this ball goes out there, it just settles because of all the rain. It just checks up on Devin. Edward Encarnacion was thinking, well, he's got to go over and try to be a cutoff man. He wasn't within 10 or 15 feet of first base. I mean, he's got to get out of the way.
If you're going to make any throw like that, you would throw it to second base and try to get him maybe making a turn
on the back pick.
Nolan takes ball one. Huge hit in yesterday's game in the 7th inning after the disappointment of striking out with runners at second and third in the 6th. Rockies were down 4-3. He came up in the 7th with the bases loaded and lined a single to drive in 2 and give the Rockies a 5-4 lead. The Rockies go on to win 9-5 last night. Jay Happ, the Rockies first became familiar with when he was an up-and-coming big-time prospect with the Philadelphia Phillies. This ball hammered to deep left, but it's got a turn on it.
So close.
Had to move the foul pole a little bit.
I've faced Jay Happ several times in my career, and he's interesting. It's almost, he has a little bit of a crossfire, and he's really hard for right-handers to pick up the baseball. Feels like it gets on top of you.
Nolan's hitting .311 against lefties this year. He's got the count even at 2-2. I think, did I see this right? I think you took him deep, didn't you, Spilly?
I was hoping you, I was leading you right to that.
Yeah, I knew you were. So you
like, oh yeah, this guy's really tough to hit. Yeah, let's see my video.
Well, you paid me $40. I said I would do it. 3-2.
Roll the video, boys. And if you notice, my front foot has to get down quick because it didn't feel right. I remember it was a 3-2 count, and he kept getting on top of me. Fastball, I would foul it straight back because the timing was off. And then I got it.
That was well struck. This ball's well struck to deep right field. Carrera going back, and he'll make the catch right at the wall. Charlie will move up 90 feet. Oh, Spilly, you played a ton of games here. After that kind of rainfall, is the air heavier?
Yeah, it most certainly is. After it rains, it was hot all day today, hot and humid. As soon as it rained, we felt the cold air come in. We felt it start to get heavy. And now, I don't think that ball off the bat was a home run. And you could see Nolan's reaction. He knew off the bat, didn't quite click it. Throws the bat, but Charlie Blackmon at second base, understanding the play, nobody out, goes back and touches second base, makes sure that Carrera catches the ball, so at least he's able to advance. Sometimes you'll see base runners go halfway, thinking that that's the right play. It's not. Nobody out, second base, you have to tag on a fly ball.
Now here's one of the hottest guys in baseball, Cargo. And he has a base hit to center field, and the Rockies take a 1-0 lead. Huey yesterday was talking about backing off your swing a little bit, not specific to Cargo, just sometimes 85%. That was 85%, wasn't it?
Under control, exactly. It wasn't the heavy swing, I'm going to try to hit this out. It was a very nice approach from Cargo. Jammed himself a little bit off the trademark, but strong to drop it out into center field. And a one-hop Kevin Pillar. But it goes back. This is the winning type inning. You throw a couple bloop hits out there. You get the fly ball to right field. Charlie smartly advances to third. Cargo drives him in, and you're not done yet.
Trevor Story did not play last night with the finger issue. The Rockies dodged near catastrophe day on Sunday with both Story getting hit in the hand, and then LeMahieu having to leave with the bruised knee.
You could see both of those guys, if it turned out any worse, being gone together for 4 to 6 weeks.
There goes your all-star middle of the infield.
Right. I'm sure it still hurts Trevor, and for Trevor, this might be one of those cases too where you don't swing 100%. Just make sure that you stay with yourself so you don't hurt that finger.
Martin with the block. 1 out, a run in, 3 singles in the inning. Adames now at second, Cargo at first. Cargo with 47 ribbies to go along with 17 home runs. He came in with a .321 batting average. That's gone up to .323. He's among the league leaders in hitting, and he's approaching the league leaders in home runs and ribbies. Kind of typical of Cargo. He can turn a season around quicker than anybody virtually in the game.
I was talking to Trevor about being hit in the hand after what he felt, and he said he was nervous because he got hit in Modesto and it broke his pinky. And the initial reaction, anytime a guy gets hit in the hand, your hands tingle, it hurts, and you always think the worst. He thought immediately, oh, I just broke my finger.
And your hand is shaking too once that ball comes in, and you can't get out of the way. And that's the scary part about it. You know the ball is creeping in towards your hands. It's coming so fast. You start your swing, and then it catches that finger. And so many times that finger's still being held onto the bat, and it'll compress it into the bat, and that's when you get those broken digits.
And it feels as your hand is shaking, your hand will shake, and you'll have the nerves and the adrenaline for innings.
Right.
So you don't even know. You still think it's broken, even though it's not.
And
now it's 3-2.
And then the trainer's going, does this hurt? Does that hurt? Yeah, it hurts.
Everything hurts.
Rockies start the runners here, Huey?
Probably not.
Not going, and it's fouled off.
Yeah, I know why you do it. You want to try to stay out of the double play. Trevor hits, I know he'll strike out, but he also hits a lot of line drives, fly balls. But if he does strike out, then you kind of give J Happ just a little bit of a relief, because you might have to strike him out, throw him out, say, wow, I got kind of dodged one there, just giving up the 1 run.
Good point. Here's the 25th pitch for Happ. This ball is lined to deep left field, and it is caught out there by Saunders. And it's a good thing Michael Saunders is about 6'4". That thing was tattooed.
First baseman, number 12, Mark Reynolds.
And boy, did he ever hit this on the line. When Michael Saunders goes back and he times his lead perfectly. Good play by him.
Saunders, Pilar, and Carrera in the outfield. Donaldson, Tulowitzki left side. Travis and Encarnacion on the right side. And Russell Martin is behind the plate. Mark Reynolds steps in against J Happ, and Mark is due against Happ. 0 for 16 lifetime with 8 strikeouts. There's always that one guy that, for whatever reason, has your number.
I think what Spilly was saying earlier too is so true, because Happ starts on the third base side of the rubber, but then steps more towards the first base side, and then crossfires you coming back around. So right-handers, if you don't pick him up early enough, or he cuts the ball in, it's a disappearing ball.
You add the 6'6" height that J Happ is, and you have the perfect mix of deception and having that baseball right on top of you.
2-0's fouled off.
Well, we mentioned it last night, how important it was for this Toronto Blue Jays team to be able to have 3 center field type outfielders, and it's already come into play this inning. Last night, Michael Saunders made 2 great plays in left field that have probably saved a couple more runs. So you look at the outfield, Saunders center fielder, Kevin Pillar, as good of a center fielder as there is in the game, and Ezekiel Carrera, a natural center fielder playing right.
2-2 on Reynolds.
Even if you don't get another run, and I hope you do, the next pitch is number 30. We know about the Toronto bullpen. That's been their Achilles heel all year long.
And Reynolds fouls that pitch off. Rockies at 500 at home, trying to get to 500 overall. They're 37 and 39. Last night they fell behind 4-0 and then scored all of their runs between the 6th and 7th innings. Strike 3 on the inside corner. So Happ strikes out Reynolds. In the inning, the Rockies got 3 singles. Cargo drives in Charlie Blackmon. 1-0 Rockies.
As we go to the top of the 2nd, he had a big game yesterday with a home run, and I love what he said, if you didn't see it in the post game, talking about Tulo being here and that home run he hit last night.
For me, I kind of took it personal. You know, I want to make sure that the fans are on my side, not the other side. And so that's what it looks like on the first inning. You know, when Tulo stepped on the plate and everybody was cheering and they got the Tulo chat, I was like, okay, let me make sure that I'm the one who wearing purple. So you better cheer for me when I hit it in the seats.
Oh, they cheered for him. And I decided to keep my purple on. Drew, you asked, why do I have the purple polo on? I also got a purple Cargo jersey today. I'm going purple power. And if they win again tonight, I might have to break it out again tomorrow.
Mark, you got to do that because last year you wore the jerseys and the Rockies went on a nice run, as I recall.
Yeah, they swept the Braves in 4 here at home right before the All-Star break.
Cost you a lot of money, but listen,
you're right.
You got to whatever it takes.
I'm in.
Saunders flies out to left field, and I want to point something out. That was a great bite that Mark solicited last night from Cargo, and it just goes to show you that sometimes when you read something, you don't know how it was delivered. If you just read what Cargo said, some people may have thought, oh, he's taking a shot at Tulo. And Tulo's getting a nice round of applause once again tonight after a great ovation yesterday. And Cargo, he had the twinkle in his eye.
Laughing about it.
Yeah, I mean, he was happy for his friend, happy for his former teammate, but he said, hey, we want to win and we want the crowd cheering for us at the end of the night, and that's obviously what occurred. 0-1 on Troy. He was 0 for 4 yesterday. Butler misses there. It's 1-1. background a somewhat weak attempt at getting the Tulo chant going.
Might be two people saying it.
Yeah.
Very few.
This has popped up in our direction. It's going to fall just a little bit short of our position. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Oh, we might have the first one back here in the booth this year. Just a little short.
Speaking of a little short, you notice Eddie Butler shaved his face and his hair. Looks great.
Thought he had a different haircut tonight.
Here's a 2-2. And a ground ball foul. One of the things I noticed with Tulo, and I'm not a huge line drive percentage guy, because soft liners that, you know, just float to an infielder are counted as a line drive. But it's somewhat indicative if you see a huge either percentage or a really low percentage what a guy's doing. Tulo's averaged about 20% in his career. He's at 10% right now. Line drive percentage. In other words, the balls that are in play are characterized one of 3 ways: fly ball, ground ball, or line drive. And clearly, you want to hit as many line drives as possible.
Yeah, part of that too is the amount of strikeouts that he's had.
Well, you look at that swing, and that's a pitch he probably can't handle, and he's fouling it back. And when you look at, and we're talking about line drive rates being down, the batting average being down, something as similar as the batting average ball in play. He's at career .317 batting average ball in play. He's at .231 for this season. Good hitters will hit. Eventually, he'll come around, and the numbers at the end of the baseball card are going to look normal.
Butler with 1 out and a 3-2 count on Tulowitzki in the second. The Rockies have a 1-0 lead. And a ground ball to third. Nolan throws out his good friend Troy Tulowitzki. 2 gone. Well, speaking of good friends, old friends, and guy was a tremendous player. This week's guest is former Rocky Michael Cuddyer. Tweet your questions for Cuddy to @RootSports_RM during tonight's game against Toronto. And a big attaboy to Cuddy, because recently retired and he lives with his family back in the DC area in Virginia, and it's getting close to midnight. So Cuddy, I'm glad you can stay up, and I don't know if you have to take the minivan anywhere early in the morning. But you may be a little bleary-eyed.
He's still on baseball schedule.
Russell Martin's behind 0-2, and some of the highlights from Michael Cuddyer's time in a Rockies uniform. It included a batting title. He got a lot of clutch hits. And he hit a slew of home runs in a Rockies uniform. That was
hit for the cycle.
One of the top free agent signings all time for the Rockies, getting Cuddyer from Minnesota.
And what he was able to impart on some of the guys in the locker room is invaluable. I mean, he was a pro's pro when you're talking about Michael Cuddyer. I mean, we'd go up and talk to him all the time, and just to be able to listen to him and not only dissect the game of baseball, but also to talk about players and talk about pitchers and how he would view a pitcher and look at him, how he was going to attack him. You learn a lot from talking to him, just listening, I should say, to somebody like Mike.
Yeah, very intuitive, cerebral player. Got a question from the Cowboy. Question is, at your age, are you going to be able to stay up late enough to finish the game? That's where he's up right now. What do you got, Cuddy? It's summer and the kids actually sleep a little longer. Hope all's well, Tracy.
And if we keep saying so many nice things about him, of course he's going to stay up and watch the broadcast.
We'll hear more from Cuddy when we come back. Strike 3. Eddie Butler, a 1-2-3 second inning. Middle of 2. Rockies 1 and the Blue Jays nothing. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the 2016 Toyota Tundra and your hometown Toyota stores, and by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. We go to the bottom of the second inning on what has been an interesting weather day and evening in the Mile High City. Gorgeous all day, temperature in the 90s, and then it rained and hailed. We had a rain delay, weather delay, if you will, of 2 hours and 41 minutes at the outset. Nick Hundley is going to lead off here in the second, and a foul tip, and it's 0-1. Well, Nick Hundley, a product of the University of Arizona. Yesterday, a great day for Arizona as they beat Coastal Carolina, the best out of 3 for the national championship in the College World Series. But today, or tonight, it was Coastal Carolina over the U of A. So tomorrow, winner take all.
Chanticleers of Coastal.
All right, name the most famous Chanticleer ever to play in the big leagues. He probably played, well, I'm going to take this guy. He played the most games, and he played for the Rockies. There's your hint. See if Cuddy's got an idea also.
You know what? I'll let Cuddy answer it first.
Well, he's from that. He's
Good
from
play.
that.
Good play. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, about you, Philly?
Cuddy. No, Cuddy.
Okay,
Cuddy's
yeah.
got it.
Yeah, well, he's
going
from
to
that.
stay up this late. He can Google search it.
Yeah, he's from that part of the world.
That's what it should come down to. One game, though.
Here's the 0-2 on Nick, 1-2. Here's a serious question for Michael. Are you driving a minivan now?
I know Doug Marino today was out looking for a minivan. So.
Yeah, I know. That ball's lined to right, and it's fair. And it shoots past Carrera into the corner. Hundley may end up at third. He stops at second, though. He went about 4 hard strides toward third base before Stu Cole stopped him. A leadoff double for Nick Hundley. Boy, did that scoot on the wet outfield grass.
And it sounded great coming off the bat. When the pitch is away from you, you have to let it travel further, and Nick did on the Subaru Supermo. And then he just took it to right field, and that, because it didn't have the arc on it, it didn't just plop down. It scooted on the wet grass out in right field.
Well, Coors Field, the corners, and Dodger Stadium, to me, are the 2 toughest corners to play on ground balls, because there's it almost funnels the ball the way it's set up. There's a little arc to the corner, and so if it gets in that corner, it can shoot back around towards the bullpens.
1 strike on Brandon Barnes. 5-game hitting streak for the Barnyard. 9 for his last 19. And he takes another strike. It's 0-2. Hitting in that difficult spot in the lineup, the 8th spot in the National League. It's a tricky place to hit.
And both of those pitches were tricky pitches to try to hit down and away.
You know that pattern. Away, away, and then the hard cutter in. Barnes fought it off. Boy, you got to feel good for Brandon. He's a big league player. He knows he's a big league player, but he got caught in the numbers game, had to go down to AAA for a while, and that's a grind on you mentally, Spilly, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. You're away from your family, your friends. You know you have the talent to be at the major league level, and you're grinding. It is an absolute grind. It's a different grind than when you're a minor leaguer. You've never been to the major leagues. You're just trying to get to the big leagues. When you are a big league player in AAA, knowing that you should be on a roster, you're away from your family, it is so hard mentally.
Breaking ball to the right side, it goes, and moving to third with 1 out is Hundley, and that'll bring up Eddie Butler.
Pitcher number 31, Eddie
Folks, if the Rockies score 7 or more, as they've been doing on a regular basis, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to receive your Rockies taco special Limas at Taco Bell. So Butler a chance to drive in his first run of the year. The infield naturally comes in.
Eddie's moving up in the box.
Showed bunt early, obviously, and pulled it back.
I was just watching his feet because he had started in the back part of the batter's box, and then when J-Hap went into his stretch, he just shuffled up about 3 or 4 inches. This time he's just staying clear.
0-2. All right, so is Cuddy driving a minivan? If there was no stigma about minivans, everyone would drive one. Yeah, probably right. It's one of my favorite commercials. And we were kidding Doug about that today, where no, I'm not going to do that.
I'm not
going to be that guy. And the next thing you're that guy. And now Dougie's going to be driving a minivan with a baby and one on the way. Fouled off by Butler. Well, Eddie Butler and Michael Kadire from the same part of the world, down in that Chesapeake area of Virginia. Dougie just handed me a note. It was not baseball related. He said, "Saddest day of my life." Sorry, dude.
Sorry, man. Dream's over, brother.
Yeah. That convertible Volkswagen of yours,
it's gone.
all the tie-dye you have, out the gate. You're grown up now. It's not about you anymore,
That's
Doug.
right.
Spilly, will you break down that swing there by Butler for us?
I'm going to defer to Huey on that one.
I was looking at Dougie on that one. No.
That one's the cricket swing.
Yeah.
That's the one where you hope it bounces and maybe
Somehow you make contact?
yeah, you get a little Ichiro in you. It's okay, I'll take it. Still have Charlie
I think
Blackman
it-
up with two outs.
There's only a couple guys that can do that. Corey Dickerson and Vlad Guerrero.
Yeah.
Ichiro had a base hit, I think, on one like that.
2 outs, Blackman at the plate. He had a base hit and scored in the first inning. The only swing that rivaled that one that I recall from a Rockies pitcher was when Byung-Hyun Kim took a swing and did a 180 in the batter's box and then was completely facing the opponent's dugout. Hard ground ball, and now a race to first, and it'll be won there by Encarnacion. And it was lucky he got there because J-Hap would not have beat Blackman. To by T-Mobile. Some news and notes from around the game last night. In the 9th inning, the game between Texas and the Yankees was delayed. The Rangers win after a 3-hour and 35-minute delay. It ended at 2:44 in the morning. Joe Girardi was incensed with that one when they were even playing initially in it. What a game for Chris Bryant. 16 total bases, 3 home runs, 2 doubles. Youngest player in Cubs history since Ernie Banks to hit 3 home runs in a game. Clayton Kershaw was flown back to Los Angeles to have his sore back examined. He is scheduled to go Friday against the Rockies at Dodger Stadium. Naturally, that start may be in question. Drew Goodman, Jeff Hewson, Ryan Spielborg's Mark Stout. Michael Kadire is running our Twitter account tonight. At Root Sports _RM. If you want to get a hold of Michael, ask him questions about his career, about the game, about the Rockies. Kevin Pillar.
About his life after baseball. What is he doing? Besides just enjoying some family time. The wife and kids. Is he coaching? Cuddy, what are you doing?
Pillar takes inside. It's 2-1.
I think one of the amazing things about Michael Kadire is he still had a year left on his contract with the New York Mets and chose to retire, and I think it's worthy asking exactly why. I know the answer, but I think it's so great coming from his mouth.
3-2 and a ground ball through the vacated right side. Boy, that hit a puddle, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
That's one of the drainage areas beyond where the second baseman normally plays and beyond where the shortstop plays. Those are the primary drainage areas, and the field looks pristine, but obviously there's a wet area because that ball splashed as it went into right field. So a lead single for Pillar with J Happ coming up.
And you'll see on the Subaru Supermo right here. It's like when you're going down one of the slides over at Water World at the end where you get that big splash.
And a good bunt by Happ. The flip to Adames, 1-4 on the sac bunt. With one out, Pillar at second, and Ezekiel Carrera coming up. All right, what do you got? Yeah, Dustin Johnson. Boy, that's not who I had. You had Dustin Johnson out of Coastal Carolina. Look at this.
But you were asking for,
he was a golfer.
You were asking for the baseball player.
Yeah, I was asking for the baseball player. Dustin Johnson, probably the most famous athlete, though, I think, after last week, right?
I think he just trumped whatever question you just asked with the Dustin Johnson.
All right, from a baseball standpoint, how about Kurt Manwaring?
Mano.
Yeah, former
catcher.
Former Rockies catcher.
Didn't Tommy LaStella play there, too?
Tommy LaStella played there. Mickey Brantley played there. Remember Dave Chappelle? Played there. Want to know on Carrera. And 1 ball, 1 strike. Carrera hitting .403 at the Rogers Center out on the road. 185. Likes the home cooking, evidently. The exchange rate not working for him.
Although it is going back up.
He held up.
One thing I remember as we're talking about Michael Kadire is his signature. How clear and concise and how beautiful it was. So if he could maybe tweet a picture of his signature on a baseball or just on a check. Well, a check too. I mean, yeah, we'll split it, Spilly. Okay.
Blank check.
And how he, I mean, I think we all know the story about how he came to write so clear.
Well, it's a great story, and for those that may not have heard it before, he was, and I hope I get this accurately from the past, but he was doing a signing with the late great Harmon Killebrew, and Killebrew noticed all of a sudden that you know, his signature, talking about Michael Kadyr's, wasn't really legible. And he pulled him aside and he said, hey, listen, these fans are, you know, waiting to get your signature. The last thing you want is sometime they're going to go home and take a look at it in a few days or a few weeks or a couple of years, and they're going to say, who was this?
Who is this?
And, you know, take the time to make it legible so they always know who you are. And even though it took you know, a few extra seconds to write out every letter, from that point forward, Cuddy always did. And I mean, I think we're all in that boat where you have baseballs that were signed, you look at them and you have no idea who it was.
And it could be a valuable baseball.
Yeah.
But you're like, all I see is some doctor scribble. I mean, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
No offense to doctors out there. My father-in-law is one, so retired. So I know about his handwriting.
I can write like a doctor. And ball 4, Carrera draws a walk. That's the second walk allowed by Butler, and that'll bring up Devin Travis. You're starting to get into the thick part of that Toronto lineup. Well, look at that. That's I don't know how somebody writes like that on paper, much less on the curve of a baseball.
And not only did Killebrew help him just doing something as simple as that, Michael Kadir wore number 3 in honor of him his entire career.
Humble man who could really, really hit a baseball far, Armin Killebrew. Travis hit a fly ball to fairly deep right field his first time up. Played collegiately at Florida State. Takes a strike. He's hit 12 of his last 13 to the tune of a .412 average. That home run he hit last night was impressive. Dead center field.
Not a real tall guy. We were down on the field today during batting practice. You and I both were just commenting on how tall he was, but he's strong as anything.
Yeah. The guy who does look like he should hit the ball far and does is Edwin Encarnacion.
He took up a lot of space when he was walking out of the dugout today.
Yeah, he's a barrel-chested guy. Here's Edwin. See if Eddie can get a ground ball here. 1-1. That just missed. Laz Diaz is behind home plate. Nick Lentz at first, Corey Blazer at second, Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, at third. 17 years of big league umpire for Laz. In fact, he worked the 2007 World Series involving the Rockies and Red Sox. It's quite an honor for an umpire. Good pitch.
I will say this for Eddie tonight as we head into this third inning here. Most of his misses, if he has, have been down. But this was spot on the outside corner on the Subaru Supermo.
Ground ball, foul. Rockies erased a 4-0 deficit last night. Biggest come from behind victory of the year, and that's a base hit to right. Cargo trying to get to the baseball around third. Pilar will score easily to tie up the game.
Just as I was bragging on Eddie and missing when he missed when it was down, this time he misses up and away. Travis hits it to right field. We've seen water come up off the baseball, so you know as a third base coach you're just going to wave a guy. That ball was belt high and hits it to right field. Cargo on a dry day would come up and fire this baseball home, but knowing that it's wet, wisely just throws it in to keep that double play in order.
And now with 2 on, you have to deal with Josh Donaldson. He's not going to get cheated. He's going to take a healthy hat. Walked his first time up. An OPS of 954 coming in.
Just so much going on with the swing, with the leg kick, and the way he gets that bat into a launching position. It's just like a spring that's ready to uncoil once that foot hits. All this power and energy is generated back towards the baseball.
0-2.
We talk about guys like Carlos Gonzalez, who has torque like a rubber band. Josh Donaldson has the ability to pull that rubber band even farther back in certain counts to try to get even more power, more torque.
Hand to the bat. Two outs as Carrera moves up 90 feet, and that'll bring up Encarnacion with runners at first and third. Now, Spilly had a question for Michael, and Cuddy writes, Spilly, I just felt that I wasn't capable of playing the game the way it deserved to be played anymore, and I missed my family. And you know what? I give Michael a ton of credit. In his last year with the Mets, I remember chatting with him around the batting cage, and that's something that I don't think fans fully appreciate. And you know, everybody who's involved in this game at this level is so fortunate, and I know we feel that way. You guys played for a long time, but I feel that way as a broadcaster. But people are people, no matter what you get paid, no matter how beautiful your occupation may be, and you spend a ton of time away from your family. And even when you're home, you know, a lot of families, barbecues, summertime, you know, you're at a ballpark, even if you're home in the evening. And for a player, you know, they're getting here around 1 in the afternoon, and when they get home, it's, you know, midnight. You got to get your rest. You just don't see your family for about 8 months, get that much quality time, and it can wear on you.
And once your kids start school too, and they're not able to leave school, or they're staying there while you're at spring training, they'll come out and visit, but it's not the same. And so I understand exactly what Michael is talking about, missing the family.
I mean, just that response gives me goosebumps, because it shows you what quality person Cuddy is and how hard that decision is, and not to be making it based on a financial decision. He based it on his ability to play the game the right way and being a good father. I love it.
One and two on Encarnacion. Travis at first knocked in the run a moment ago to tie the game at 1.
He lay off that changeup just outside of the Subaru strike zone, but where it started out of the hand made it look like it was going to be a strike.
He takes that slider away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hundley going toward the outside corner, and he's getting a bite on the slider. It's 3-2. Well,
those are 2 pitches.
Yeah, you want to know why Encarnacion is the kind of hitter he is. He spit on 2 really good pitches.
And if you were to ask Eddie and Nick, say, where do you want the first changeup? Where do you want the sliders? They would have said both of those locations. I like that, encouraging him, saying, hey, come on, throw another slider down.
This is fouled off. Mark Reynolds will give it a look, but it's out of play.
Well, you can watch hitters from the side, and that's the beauty that I get tonight, being able to watch the side angle. You can tell when guys have good, solid takes. When they're landing soft on the front foot, when they're standing tall, they see the pitch. And with a guy like Encarnacion, who leads Major League Baseball in RBIs, he looks scary right now.
And another foul ball. So Travis will return to first.
That's the thing for hitters and or pitchers. When you're standing in the box, you want to give that feeling to the pitcher, like I've got you, and vice versa. If you're on the hill, you got to be that guy saying try to intimidate the hitter.
Yeah, I would not make a mistake right here. The way he's taking, the way he spit on his best pitches, foul balls, even though they weren't well struck, he's on time.
Well, you're talking about not being intimidated. Walt Weiss was talking about a guy we all have great respect for, Don Baylor's Groove's birthday today. He played in 1989 with Groove, and then he played for him when Groove was the manager here of the Rockies. He said he'll never forget first spring training, the first big leaguer to come over and talk to me privately was Don Baylor. He said of the many nuggets he threw at me that day, one was never let a pitcher intimidate you. Ball 4, and now the bases are loaded. He said, I don't care if it's Nolan Ryan, whoever it is, never be intimidated by the guy on the hill. Steve Foster's going to go out and visit with Eddie Butler. Bases are loaded, and the left-handed hitting Michael Saunders coming up.
I think this is just a pep talk here, saying you made some great pitches to Encarnacion. He spit on him, he took his walks, but you keep throwing the ball like you're doing down in the zone. Use a changeup in your slider, and you'll be just fine. Let's go. A great Clips stylist will be on site tomorrow, providing haircuts and collecting donations for the Colorado Rockies Baseball Club Foundation. Reminder, it's a 1 p.m. game tomorrow. First pitch 1:10.
So here's Saunders. He had a fly ball to left his first time up. 1-1, 2 outs, bases full of Jays. And Saunders lifts it to deep center field. Going back to Blackmon, and he will have a play. What a catch by Charlie Blackmon. And the glove salute from Eddie Butler. That saved 3 runs.
With that bruised left knee, hopefully he comes back tomorrow. And here's why. Our Lowe's home field advantage, all about DJ and the extra base hits he's had the past 2 years, with the majority of them coming here at home at Coors Field. And he's on the verge of setting a single season record when you talk about DJ and extra base hits. And I know that Drew and Jeff and Spilly were talking about hopefully he'll be back tomorrow with Adames at the plate and filling in tonight.
Well, Walt has so much confidence on both sides of the ball in Christian Adames. However, That is an all-star second baseman on both sides of the ball, and you want him out there as many games as possible.
And he wants to be out there every day. There's some guys that say, you know, 5 days a week is good enough for me. DJ is a 7-day-a-week guy.
Yeah, it's not comfortable for him leaning on the top step of a dugout. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Adames, leading off in the third in a 1-1 affair. Adames, Arenado, Gonzalez. Michael Kadire is with us, taking over the Twitter account on this Tuesday, and we really appreciate him hanging out into the morning back east in Virginia. Got to ask Michael, is he taking as many pictures as he was when he was traveling around the country playing baseball? Avocation photography. It's fouled off, and he got some wonderful shots over the years, not just at ballparks, but walking around the many cities that you get to go to.
I want to say he published a book of the National League and all the different fields he did.
Would not surprise me.
I think he has another book he's going to publish eventually, if I remember reading right. Hairline fracture on that bat. He's going to grab a new one.
Went to the 2-tone model.
That one has more hits in it.
Does it?
Yeah.
Ball 4. So Adames draws a walk to lead off the third inning, and the Rockies are 3 for 3, getting the leadoff man on in this ball game against 33-year-old Jay Hyle. What a catch by Charlie Blackmon. And Cuddy writes, great play by Charlie. I don't think people realize just how tough it is to play center field Coors. I don't either, really. Of course, Mike was a corner outfielder. He got twisted around and came down with it. Spilly, you did play a lot of center here.
Well, and if you notice, he had to spin the other way. He didn't have enough time where the ball was at to spin his head. Sometimes you'll see outfielders snap their head like a wide receiver going after a deep ball. That one he spun, and you're typically taught not to do that. But in order to keep your eye on the baseball with such a short window to catch the ball, you had to spin that way.
Nolan lines this to the left field corner. Adames heading to third. And Stu Cole will stop him there on Nolan's double. Second and third, nobody out.
19th double of the season for Nolan, 125 in his career. Also keeps a hit streak alive. 11 games now for Nolan. Leave a pitch up to him, he'll do some damage with it. Now it's just set up golden for Cargo.
Yeah, he's had a great homestand. He's had a great last 5 weeks. I don't know of anybody in the game doing more damage than Cinco right now. Cargo an RBI single in the first. He drove in his 47th run of the year. Nobody out. 3 for 10 lifetime against Happ. Since May 22nd, Cargo's hitting .391, which is the best mark in the National League. Ahead of Paul Goldschmidt, Matt Carpenter, DJ LeMahieu's 4th on that list. Two-strike count. Drives it high, and it's deep into the night. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. 3-run blast. Nice way to pick off your 1,000th hit in the Rockies uniform as well.
Boy,
So
was that ever crushed.
Last 3 days, grand slam, 3-run home run yesterday, and now another 3-run home run tonight. And all of them were no doubters. I mean, there's a second deck material. 0-2 pitch. App's thinking he's got him. Cargo says, no, I've got you.
There's not a better finish. Who looks smoother than Carlos Gonzalez after they hit the baseball and just drop the bat? Yes, it's Ken Griffey Jr., but Cargo is Ken Griffey 2.0 with that pimp job.
I'll tell you what, we've seen it for years. Cuddy was his teammate for 3 years. He has just jaw-dropping talent. And there are few guys, we have this cliche in baseball, he can carry a team for a week, he can carry a team for, several days. This is Story rolling it to Tulowitzki, and that was bang bang at first. Just did get him. Get a feel for Trevor Story's speed. But to finish that thought on Cargo, he is one of the few guys who really truly can carry a club for an extended period.
We saw it after June 4th last year when the numbers he was able to put up, had 4 home runs and it ended up at 40. And now what he's done in the last 4 or 5 weeks, and to have 1,000 hits in a Rockies uniform.
Drew, I always love it when you talk about how Carlos Gonzalez, he started his career with Oakland, or started with the Diamondbacks. He went to Oakland, but he is a Rocky. Wherever he ends up, he's always a Rocky. He will be in the Mount Rushmore with those other 5 heads that we just saw on the Rockies Mount Rushmore. He is through and through a Rocky.
Absolutely. We were discussing that the other night. Encarnacion had to scramble at the last moment to catch that pop off the bat of Mark Reynolds. 2 outs.
Catcher, number 4.
The thing too for Cargo, people say, well, he was traded a couple times, but he was in big trades. It wasn't like, oh, they were trying to get rid of him because he wasn't producing. They didn't think he was going to be that guy. No, it was, I mean, the Rockies traded Matt Holliday for Carlos Gonzalez.
(4-1) Colorado. Here's Nick Hundley. Good pass through the zone by Hundley. It's 0-1.
Well, you guys are talking about U of A playing Coastal Carolina tomorrow for the championship. Well, you mentioned Tommy La Stella. Tommy La Stella had a bet with Jake Arrieta. Jake Arrieta went to TCU. The winner of that game, one of the guys was going to have to get a tattoo. Well, Arrieta lost that bet. So now Arrieta has to get a tattoo with CCU, except they can do it now where you can do it like black light tattoo, so it's not really visible, but you can see it with the black light. So curious if
did they say how big it had to be though?
I think it's like back size. It has to fill. True story.
This ball's lined to right, and coming on to make the catch is Carrera. That'll end the inning, but the Rockies get a 3-run home run from Carlos Gonzalez. It's a nightly show now for Cargo. He's already got 4 ribbies tonight. The Rockies have a 4-1 lead on the Blue Jays. Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Who knows what's next when it comes to Carlos Gonzalez. He has driven in all 4 runs tonight for the Rockies. And Colorado enjoying a 4-1 lead as we go to the 4th inning over Toronto. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Ryan Spilborgh's Mark Stout. Cargo on an 0-2 pitch. And by the way, as Tulo gets ready to come up, that was his 7th home run this year, left on left. 7 of his 18 home runs have come against Southpaws. Tulo looking for his first knock in this series. He's 0 for 5. He grounded to third his first time up. Tulowitzki, Russell Martin, Kevin Pillar, 6, 7, and 8. Toronto's lineup. Again, no Jose Bautista. He has turf toe. He's on the disabled list. Good slider and a swinging strike 1.
We'll see how Eddie comes out this inning after, the great catch by Charlie Blackmon to in the top of the 3rd, and then the 3 runs in the bottom of the 3rd.
Butler working ahead, 2 strikes. Rockies 5-3 in interleague play. There's been a few years lately where the Rockies didn't win 5 games against the American League all season long. 0-2. Well, that's a enticing slider. Troy did not offer at it. As you can see on the Subaru strike zone, it was off the plate, 1 and 2.
Already with the 5 wins in interleague play ties what they did last year. Last year was not good though, 5-15 in interleague.
Rockies have the shift on for Tulowitzki. It's the 1-2 on Troy. And that ball's crushed to left center field. Tulowitzki has hit it out. So Tulo comes back to Denver, and his first hit is a bomb to make it 4-2. And the familiar low 5 at third base, this time with his third base coach Luis Rivera.
They came inside with the fastball in the previous pitch, and then they wanted to go back in with a slider. But the slider then works more towards the inner 3rd and not inside, and Troy's able to get to it on the Subaru Supermo.
But to his credit, Spilly, he went down and got that.
He did go down and get that. He was calm, he was quiet with this swing. I was worried he was going to run back into the Rockies dugout and see if he forgot. It's his 107th home run at Coors Field. First as a Blue Jay, someone else.
6th all time in Coors Field home runs.
That would feel weird. That would feel strange to hit that many home runs here and then not left turn into the dugout that you're familiar with, having to go right.
He really got his lower half involved in that swing.
12 home runs now for Tulowitzki, which, given how poor a start he got off to, doing a nice job recovering. I know the average is nowhere close to where he expects it to be. Starting to hit the long ball. He's driving in some runs. 12 home runs, 30 ribbies now.
Just continues to add to the home run total for the Toronto Blue Jays in interleague games all time. 469. Wow.
They're an American League club through and through. They can pound the baseball even with Joey Bats out of there. Here's the list that Huey was alluding to. Nobody's close.
No. Baltimore's on the list, but look how far back they are. They've still hit 415.
And a base hit to right. So Russell Martin with a single, nobody out. Kevin Pillar coming up. Kevin Pillar is a great story. He went to a Division II school, Cal State Dominguez Hills, which I know you're familiar with, Spilly, being a West Coast Southern California guy. And one of the things the coach said, one of the first meetings when he was a freshman, he said, there's a reason you guys are all here and you're not D1 guys. He said, let's see how hard you work. And
wow.
Pillar took it personally. Well, what a career he had at Dominguez Hills. At one point, he had a DiMaggio streak in college. He hit 56 straight games. He went on to have an All-American career. And now he is a legitimate, very solid major league player.
But still a late round pick. 32nd round pick.
Chip on the shoulder guy.
Yes, indeed. Nothing wrong with having that chip. That's the way you play your whole career.
Absolutely.
If you're Kevin Pillar.
I cannot remember the kid's name, but last year Pillar got the opportunity to start playing because there was an injury to a young prospect that was supposed to be the next left fielder for the Blue Jays.
Well, last year he played in 159 games. He hit 278, 12 home runs, 56 RBIs. As you were talking about earlier, Spilly, he played a terrific center field, and he was 25 out of 29 swiping bags.
The 979th player taken in the 211 draft.
Yeah, I said 56
or 2011
games.
draft.
It's actually a 54 game hitting streak. You know what? Close enough.
Yeah.
You hit 50 plus. You kidding me? I don't care what league you're in. Here's the 2-1.
Ouch.
Grabbed his knee right after he swung, and normally that's hard to hit the back knee. Oh, that's
wow.
hard to do.
That is,
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
I've seen it on the shin, not the back knee. And that wasn't a glancing blow on the Subaru Supermo either. I mean, that was square.
Yeah, it's not going to feel any better even if you waited 5 more minutes. It's still going to hurt.
Okay, so now the question is,
throw the same pitch.
You took the words out of my mouth, Billy. Come back inside. No, that's great, because you and I are thinking exactly alike. I don't know if that's a good thing, but hey, that fastball in, because you know that guy is thinking, oh man, if they come back in there again, I don't want to foul it off with the same spot. Sinker in.
3-2 on Pillar. Got him. And it was a sinker down. First out of the inning, and that'll bring up the pitcher, Jay Happ. Second strikeout of the night for Butler. Run in on the Tulowitzki home run. Russell Martin at first.
I like to go back to we were talking about the home runs in interleague play with the Toronto Blue Jays, and we saw nothing but American League teams. And to me, the answer is simple. American League teams are built with the DH. Whenever you have National League teams, you're talking about using fourth outfielders, backup infielders to hit in that DH spot. These teams, the American Leagues, they're built. Edwin Encarnacion is typically a DH. He's made a great play at first base today, but he's typically not a defensive player. You mentioned it last night, Drew, when he was playing third base with the Reds. Adventure. We'll always see those numbers being way higher than National League with the DH.
He's bunted pretty hard. Butler is going to throw it into center field. It's one of those plays, Huey, at shortstop. It's a two-seamer coming at you, and the runner's coming at you.
Wrong side of the bag to miss on if you're Eddie.
It's a difficult play for Story. It'll be an error on Butler, and now it's first and third. I don't think it was a bad decision, though. Huntley's directing him, and he had him with a good throw.
Right, and that's why we'll freeze it when he fields his baseball to tell you that he does have plenty of time, and he's set up for it. So right here, look at how much room he has before that runner gets there. If you just make a solid throw, it's going to be a double play, but he drops down into Trevor. He's thinking, well, this ball's going right back into the runner. See how he threw from the side? You need to get on top of that a little bit more and give Trevor a better feed at second base. If you give him a good feed, he comes across the bag, throws to first, inning over, you're hitting.
Yeah, and the beat goes on for Rockies pitchers this year. It's a really good team defensively. It seems when the pitcher's not handling the baseball. The Rockies have 13 errors with their pitching staff. At the top of the order, Ezekiel Carrera, and that's a base hit, and now it's a one-run game. Russell Martin jogs in. Carrera with just his 7th RBI.
The fundamentals of baseball, you don't do them, it's going to come back to haunt you, and Carrera takes his sinker,
Second baseman,
pulls it into right field to drive in another run.
Johan Flande's been warming up, and Walt Weiss has seen enough. So after just 3 1/3, Butler was staked to a 4-1 lead, and Walt's going to take the baseball. Spring Creek cable viewers from Montrose, Colorado, thank you for watching the Rockies on Root Sports. We appreciate it. Make sure you tell us where you happen to be watching from on Twitter at RootSports_RM. Good town, pretty town, Montrose, Colorado. Well, Johan Flande will be asked to throw long relief, and he's going to inherit a difficult situation, but he also, for the moment, inherits the lead 4-3. Devin Travis coming up. Runners at first and second. 2 runs in for Toronto. There's 1 out. Travis to be followed by Josh Donaldson. Butler started to get hit, but as you pointed out, Jeff, with a good throw, he's very likely off the field, still in the ball game with a 2-run lead.
And still a chance to win the game. But now it'll be in the hands of Yohan Flande as Happ is at second base, and you have Carrera at first, and the speedy Travis hitting now.
Even if you don't turn the double play, you're still getting an out.
It's always those little things.
Travis a single to drive in a run last inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Flande, a guy over the last 3 years, has been up and down. Spot starter, sometimes in this role as a long reliever. Guy always takes the baseball, always competes. Typically a strike thrower.
Case in point, last year with the Rockies, he appeared in 19 ball games, had 10 starts. He was 3-3 with a 4.74 ERA. 35 games in his major league career, 20 starts.
And that's ripped to left, base hit. Happ's going to stop at third, and the bases are loaded for Josh Donaldson.
Saw a couple pitches up from Eddie Butler. Well, this was a slider that was up from Yohan Flande on the Subaru Supermo, and it gets hit hard to left field.
One of the parts I enjoyed about that play is Josh Donaldson standing on deck. He's the MVP, and he dropped his bat on the on-deck circle and ran behind home plate to be base running coach if Jay Happ had decided to run home. It's the little things. You have to notice these things, and you appreciate what we talk about. Michael Kadire doing things right. That's doing right. That's doing well for your teammate, giving an extra set of eyes instead of just standing there watching a play unfold.
One ball, 1 strike. Best advice for kids at home is from Cuddy. Notice the little things big leaguers do, good and bad. Study them all. That's such a marvelous point. I know you and I, you say that with, you know, our kids being a little bit older and having coached, that kids today are too frequently playing video games on their phone, and they don't watch the game. They love to play when they're playing, but they don't understand the nuances of the game.
And that's why Billy was talking about, instead of just standing on the on-deck circle for Josh Donaldson, he was saying, hey, if you need to slide, this is where you're going to have to slide.
Deep right field toward the corner, and it is off the wall. Long run now for Cargo. This is going to clear the bases. Donaldson is going to end up rounding third with a 3-run triple, and now Toronto is in front.
And this ball came so hard back to the infield that Christian Adames ended up fielding the baseball. '51 RBIs for Donaldson. So he gets everything going with the leg kick. Hits it 3/4 of the way up the wall. And look how far it goes on the warning track. Christian eventually comes over to stop it. Will intentionally walk Encarnacion to go left on left with Michael Saunders.
Josh Donaldson has 6 at-bats this year with the bases loaded, and he's driven in 14 runs. '30-year-old, a product of Auburn University in Auburn, Alabama. First-round pick back in 2007. Same draft that produced produced a number of terrific big leaguers. So Flande will try to get a ground ball out of Saunders. Still just one out. 5 runs in here in the 4th inning. He'll close the book on Butler. 5 runs in 3 1/3, 4 earned. Comebacker coming home, and it's booted by Flande. He won't get anybody. He had a play on Donaldson. Donaldson broke on the comebacker. And Johan couldn't make a play. That'll be another error. And it's now 14 errors on Rockies pitchers this year. And it is 7-4 Toronto.
49 as a ball club.
But the 14 pitcher errors are the most in Major League Baseball.
I mean, not hit hard enough where you're going to turn to. So just make sure you catch it, and you have it Donaldson at the plate easily right now. I mean, he's not even in the picture. 2 miscues in this inning have led to basically all of these runs. If you convert the double play, you're done. You're not even throwing up these runs.
Now Tulowitzki, who started the inning off with a home run, and he grounds into the 5-3 double play. Nice pick at first by Reynolds. 6-run inning with some help from 2 miscues by the Rockies pitchers. It's now 7-4 Blue Jays. And now they trail by 3 runs as they come to bat in the bottom of the 4th inning. It'll be Brandon Barnes, the pitcher spot, and then Charlie Blackmon. Here's our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms. Check this grouping out of guys since August of last year, the beginning of August, and their win percentage. Jake Arrieta's been off the charts. Strasburg, we all know about that. Kershaw naturally. Greinke. J Happ is on the list at 16-5. And the guy who gets a lot of credit for kind of turning J Happ around is the soft-spoken pitching coach for Clint Hurdle in Pittsburgh, Ray Searage. In fact, Clint refers to him as the pitching whisperer.
Well, he watched J Happ in his first game over there, didn't say anything, let him do his thing. And then he watched some video and said, well, I think you need to slow down your motion. That'll help release your arm slot, take it up. And this is what's happened since that trade and since talking with Ray Searage. His fastball now is back up to 94 miles an hour. Pretty low whip, 1.09.
Jay last year began the year in Seattle. When he went to Pittsburgh, he went 7-2 with a 185 and 11 starts, and then signed a 3-year, $36 million deal with Toronto. It's his second tour with Toronto. After he left Philadelphia, he has seen the country. This ball is loud and deep to left, and it's off the base of the wall. And Barnes has a double. How hot is Brandon Barnes? 6-game hitting streak. He's 10 for his last 21 at the plate.
Just on this homestand, he's 9 for 17.
Encarnacion crashing. That was a nice break. So the sack bunt for Flande.
Billy, I like the Encarnacion yelling, ah, you can hear him say, I'm in no man's land.
It was hilarious, and luckily for them, behind him, you can see Encarnacion laughing with Travis as he's running off. That's everybody having a smile. Well, Flande sets the angle nicely. It's just it set it for a pop-up over the first baseman. That's hard to do.
It was hard to get a sack bunt 4 unassisted at first.
Who did we watch a couple years ago have a bunt double?
Oh, yeah.
A 4 unassisted on a bunt? Yeah, I'm going to guess that that does not happen often.
Yeah, you're not writing that down frequently. Blackman a single, a run scored in the first. Hit a hot shot at Encarnacion his next time up.
Ender Inciarte with Arizona.
I think you're right. It's good memory. Borderline pitch called a strike, 1-1. Like he was outside on the Subaru strike zone.
That's when you kind of look at the umpire and say, well, that was out, right? And it's, no, I got it on the corner just to let him know, no, I saw that out.
Going back to your talk about Ray Searage with Pittsburgh, one of the things that we've noticed, and we mentioned Juan Nicasio going from the Dodgers to Ray Searage and having a great spring training. Something they preach, and as a team they do it, they throw inside more than any other team in the major leagues. And that was something that Jay Happ had to get back to. That allowed that cutter to be so great for him.
1-2, Charlie fights that pitch off. It was up and in. Jay Happ was 3 times all Big Ten pitcher at Northwestern.
Said it earlier, 71 wins. That's the most ever by a pitcher from Northwestern.
And Charlie battles away. Another 1-2. Outside. They've changed the scoring last inning. If you do keep a book with us at home, 6 runs last inning, 4 earned. They originally said 5 earned. And we were talking about it up here. It's a judgment call because on that ball back to Flande, had he fielded it cleanly, he's going to have Donaldson dead to rights at the plate. And that's why the other earned run was taken off, and a great job by Blackman. Donaldson threw him out, and Encarnacion stayed on the bag. But the fact that Charlie got the ball in play ensured that the Rockies, with the infield back, would get that run. Barnes scores, and it's 7-5. Billy, that's just a terrific at-bat left on left by Blackman.
Thank you for saying that, because it wasn't just being able to put that ball in play to Josh Donaldson at third. It was being able to spoil several tough pitches. He fouled a ball that probably was 2 inches off the ground that saved him. It would have been an easy strikeout. It's those little things. So far, we've seen 2 plays in the last inning. One by Josh Donaldson, just running, doing the little things to go back up. And now Charlie Blackman fouling off a pitch and then getting a pitch that he can handle well enough to put in play for an RBI.
40 RBIs now for Charlie. How about that from your leadoff guy?
Wow.
To go along with 12 home runs and hitting 300 on the nose.
He's slugging well over 500. I asked Michael Kadire, because he got to play with Charlie as he was growing up, if you will, in the big leagues. Overcame some early career injuries. Did he see what Charlie has become coming a few years ago?
You think he's still awake?
Kid me, he's on his 4th cup of coffee. He's good. Rockies get a run back. It's 7-5. When we return, we'll go to the Rockies dugout and visit with the skipper, Walt Weiss. The 5th inning, Drew Goodman, Jeff Hughes, and Ryan Spilborghs, and we go downstairs and visit with Walt Weiss in the Rockies dugout. Walt, the offense has been on fire. Probably a little frustrating with the number of errors your pitching staff has had this year so far.
Yeah, it's it's a play right there you need to make and keep that run from scoring. But yeah, we're gonna have to slug them tonight, and Flandra's gonna have to keep this game intact for a few innings.
Talking about guys slugging, how about Carlos Gonzalez? We talk about him all the time and how he can put a team on his back. And 3 home runs in 3 days and a lot of RBIs.
Yeah, we've seen it before when he gets rolling. That's what it looks like.
All right, hey, Walt, good luck the rest of the way. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Walt.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be, we said it a lot lately, and it happens when it warms up, where it's going to be, an outscore 'em deal at 20th and Blake. And right now it's 7-5, and you're just in the middle innings. Rockies have an offense that won't abate. Toronto, by reputation, has one of those offenses as well. Russell Martin, Kevin Pillar, Jay Happ against Johan Flande. That's a strike on Martin. He had a base hit in that 6-run 5th inning. The 6 runs that the Jays gave up yesterday to the Rockies in the 7th, that was the biggest inning against the Blue Jays so far this year.
The last time they'd given up more was in October of last year. They gave up 8 runs in a 2nd inning game against the White Sox. Excuse me, Tampa Bay, not the White Sox. It was Tampa Bay. Couldn't read my writing.
That home run by Cargo, I believe that's the 39th home run that the Blue Jays have given up in the month of June, which ties their all-time record. And there's still 3 days left in the month. And a walk. Martin will jog down to first, the leadoff man aboard for Toronto. Kevin Pillar coming up. We solicited Michael Kadyr's thoughts on Charlie Blackmon. I knew he was going to do everything it took to be the best player he could become. He's showing all of us who that player is. He has, and what Cuddy's referring to is, you can tell early on, he has an unbelievable work ethic. And also his focus, man. He's got, fellas, one of those steely-eyed types of focus when he gets to the ballpark, and it truly is all business. Charlie's a fun-loving guy. We've described it before off the field, but he flips a switch when he gets to the yard. Chance for two. Pillar runs too well.
We'll talk about Charlie Blackmon, though. I mean, some guys, when they come to the park, they've already turned it on, or they're able to turn it on when that door opens up, when they're walking in the locker room. And Charlie has that switch to say, now it's time to focus on baseball.
One out.
I think they're waiting. I paused there for a moment because I thought they were waiting to see the slide at second base.
Yep.
You know, did he go outside of the baseline? Did he interfere with Trevor's ability to make the turn? This will give us a better look on the Subaru Supremo. So the feed from Adames on the bag. Well, he can still reach the bag, but it's a legal slide. It is a legal slide because he was able to hang on to the bag no matter what he did with his feet.
That's why it's incongruous to have or to eliminate the neighborhood play. It is my guess that they will revisit that next offseason because it was done, some of the rule changes, to make it safer for middle infielders. It's exactly the opposite, because now you can't lift your foot off the bag, but Russell Martin, and I give him credit, he's playing good hard-nosed baseball, but he can go out of his way to try to contact you. Now watch.
See right here
Story. Now he's got to be able to get out of harm's way. Sometimes if it was even closer than that, he's got to be able to get out of harm's way prior to that.
He has to be able to do that because even Russell Martin kicked his foot. I just don't agree with that rule at all, and I hope they get rid of it. As somebody who played the middle infield, let me have a chance to protect myself and not get hurt.
Sack bunt, Pillar to second, two gone, and that'll bring up Ezekiel Carrera. Carrera tonight robbed by Trevor Story his first time up, a walk and an RBI single. 7-5 Toronto. The Rockies had a 4-1 lead. Cargo a 3-run home run. Troy Tulowitzki a solo home run. Hits are all even at 7. Billy was selling those jerseys during the rain delay.
Before the rain came. Yeah, with hot dogs. It's great. Buy a jersey, get a hot dog.
Great deal. 1 and 2. Billy, when you first saw a fan back when you were playing wearing your jersey, was it a weird feeling?
Yeah, it was weird. Well, the interesting thing, they didn't start selling my jerseys till the end, and most people had to have them made. You had to go online and just put your name in and make it Spielborg's 19. There is a T-shirt giveaway like the Nolan Arenado giveaway that's coming up, and it was fan voted, so there's like 25,000 Spielborg's T-shirts, and I'm sure they're still in good use. I've heard that they're Great for car washing. Spill cleanups. Yeah, so they're great, and it is strange looking around and seeing that many people wearing your jersey. It really is truly strange and humbling. Yeah, why are they? Is that the same guy from 3 different angles?
Look, wow, 2 in the same section.
What is going on? They're shaking it.
That just missed. Those are paid actors.
Yes. They must be listening to Taylor Swift. Shake it off right there. You see him? I need to get my family better seats next time.
Yeah, they're down here a little closer to you.
Well, they could be family Spill because you are the only Spielborgs in America. Well, excuse me, in the United States, and then your cousin's the only Spielborg in Canada, right?
That's right. Yep.
So that's it.
That's it. I mean, I have my dad, but the next lineage is pretty much my son Tatum.
Uh-oh, this ball's well hit to right. Cargo's going to have to field it off the wall. 1 run will score. Carrera will stop at second. And Toronto gets the run back. Ezekiel Carrera has driven in a couple tonight.
And his second hit tonight for Carrera. As you can see, the 6th double on the season. Slider that he goes down and gets and one-hands off the wall in right field. Just when you got back, you're feeling good. 7-5, they tack on that 2-out RBIs, and that just takes a little of the momentum out of your dugout.
Softly hit to second. Adames has it. Travis is retired in the inning. Another run for Toronto, and it's 8-5. Rockies 8-5 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Rockies will have Nolan, Cargo, and Trevor Story coming up here in the 5th against 33-year-old Jay Happ. The Rockies have taken some good passes against Happ tonight. They have 7 hits, 5 runs, no complaints through 5 innings other than the fact that Toronto has 8 runs. Eddie Butler again gave up 5 runs, 4 earned, and 3 1/3. 5 hits. He walked 3, struck out 2. A double for Arenado his last time up, and he had a deep drive to right field his first time. He's 1 for 2.
I was going to say for Eddie too, and that 3 1/3 took him 86 pitches.
Nolan with the double in the 3rd is now hitting 11 straight.
It's a good pass.
You know, anytime it goes straight back, you're just missing it. You can also smell that baseball going off the bat. It's got a unique smell.
Nolan was talking before the game, making sure he was slow with that back foot, trying to get a nice slow rhythm at the plate.
This is loop to shallow right. But coming on and making the catch is Carrera, 1 out. Bring up Carlos Gonzalez. Michael Kadire never did get old or fully sink in that fans bought my jerseys and shirts. Always was humble. That's got to be a really neat feeling.
A bobblehead would be sweet, though.
That's the ultimate, isn't it? Bobblehead?
Yeah, a bobblehead would be awesome.
Cargo has had quite a week tonight. Single in the first to drive in a run. And we'll show you what he did in his next at bat. And that is loud and proud down the left field line, and man, he's using the whole ballpark. 3 for 3. He's approaching 330. Cargo aboard, and here comes Trevor Story. And it's amazing because Trevor Story's trained with Troy Tulowitzki. Always admired him, a bigger shortstop. Story, a bigger shortstop. And when you break down his swing, Jeff, there's a lot of similarities.
Well, they both stand very upright. And the deep breath that they both take, and Trevor said he doesn't do that on purpose. It's just kind of that cleansing breath. But they toe tap, go back, and then everything explodes through that swing, and they can hit the ball out of any ballpark.
Ball 1 on Story. He had a line shot to deep left that Saunders made a very fine play on, and then he hit a ground ball to Tulowitzki. Troy 6'3", Story 6'2".
The same body type.
Same body type, both around 210, 215 pounds, both really strong. And here's the comparison to the first 72 games. It gives you an idea. As great as Tulowitzki was, look at Story's numbers.
Incredible.
19-3 in home runs, 50-27 in ribbies. 10 points better on the batting average. Ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2. Happy to report Jake McGee in his first rehab assignment for Modesto tonight. A clean inning. And he ended up getting the victory as Modesto won while he was the pitcher of record. Jake McGee will be back shortly.
McGee is wearing a knee brace now because of the inflammation that he has, and so it'll be interesting watching him when he gets back, how he, because there is a comfort. Huey, you can talk about it too. Whenever you have to put on a brace, whether it's something on the mask or on your feet, there's an adjustment period.
It's hard too. It's because it's not something you're comfortable with, and then you have to become comfortable wearing a knee brace, or if it's an ankle, having your ankle taped up like Gerardo has right now, Gerardo Parra, with that high ankle sprain. It's just a little uncomfortable, and then you start to play more and more games with it, then it becomes just part of your uniform.
Yeah, you had some knee issues at different points in
your
your career.
Exactly. And then I would wear one of those sleeves, and it'd start to fall down and get sweaty, and you'd have to pull it up, and just kind of take your focus away of just playing.
This ball in the air to deep center field, but it is playable out there for Pilar. 2 outs. Cargo will return to first, and that'll bring up Mark Reynolds.
First baseman, number 12, Mark Reynolds.
Well, big congratulations to 2 future future Rockies. Jeff Hoffman named to the U.S. roster in the Futures game, and Raimel Tapia, who has just been unconscious the last 2 months. He got off to a slow start in Hartford, and now he's hitting .317 last time I looked. He was named to the world roster, so 2 Rockies representing in San Diego in the Futures game during the All-Star festivities in a couple of weeks. A base hit for Mark Reynolds,
Yeah,
2 aboard for Nick Hundley.
He's smiling. He said, finally I broke the drought against Happ. Got my first hit against him.
He was 0 for 18 with 9 strikeouts.
He might ask for the ball.
Yeah, take that, Happ.
That'd be fun. It wouldn't be appropriate now being down, but it'd kind of be funny.
Well, yeah, if you're winning the ball game by a large amount, you could probably yell out there at him, but no, it's not appropriate right now.
Similar when I love that story when Adrian Beltre got sawed off 3 times last year by, who was it with the Angels?
It was Garrett Richards.
Garrett Richards, and he sent him a bill for the 3 bats.
Yeah, you owe me $450.
It was great. Richards came out, autographed one of his own bats, and handed it to Beltre the next day before batting practice. Nick has a double in 2 trips tonight. That would work well here. 2 outs, 2 on. Rockies deficient on the scoreboard by 3 runs. Zulu and Cargo chatting away. We had an ongoing conversation yesterday when Cargo was at second.
Tula might be asking Cargo if his car had hail damage. Saying, I know a good guy here in Colorado, I can help you out.
And a high fly ball to Carrera in right. That'll end the inning. A couple of base hits, a couple of men left. We move on to inning number 6. Toronto 8 and the Rockies 5 from Coors Field. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Toronto up 8-5 as we go to the 6th inning, and you know, it's supposed to start tonight at 6:40, and with the 2+ hour rain delay, almost 3 hours, it's past some people's bedtimes.
Well, that's what I was thinking about Spilly when he was down there in the camera well. We didn't hear from him for about a half an inning. I think he took a nap down there.
Is that mom and now the kids are on their own?
Oh, you know what happens when mom falls asleep. Well, unfortunately for me, down in the camera well, there is not a restroom, so that when I was gone for the half inning, I was amongst my people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So you weren't napping?
No,
Okay.
no. I was washing my
Where's
hands.
my cousin Vinny, by the way?
He's sitting next to me.
Okay.
And I will turn into a pumpkin in about 29 minutes.
You can't, you know what? It's so unfair because we have Cuddy back east and it's like a quarter of dawn where Michael
Sun's
is.
coming up almost.
Right. And he's hanging tough.
Nothing good ever happens after midnight.
2-0 on Josh Donaldson. Johan Flande in relief of Eddie Butler. And a broken bat ground ball to second. Adames has it. 1 out. That'll bring up Encarnacion, the former Cincinnati Red. He's walked twice, once intentionally. Tonight also a ground ball to short. Leading the big leagues in ribbies with 69. Said it yesterday, it's amazing. He's driven in almost 70 and he's hitting in the low 200s with runners in scoring position. Go figure. Kid's doing fine. He's getting his second wind.
I'm ready to go.
No problem.
Fall asleep 2 seconds once you get to the car.
Exactly. But this is awesome. That 2 hour, 40-minute rain delay.
You had the game last night. New York Yankees versus the Texas Rangers. I believe their game started at 10:40 Eastern time. And then they had another delay and the game ended sometime around 3 in the morning. So we're not even close to that time yet.
You didn't just
shame
jinx
on
us,
you.
did you? Come on,
what,
bud.
what are
you know
you
better
thinking?
than that. Been in this game long enough not to mention that.
Hey, you know what, Spilly, for that, you got to stay in the camera well tomorrow, too. That misses.
Oh, the heat?
Yes.
I told you the little horns pop out. Getting close to my witching hour.
1 out, 1 on. Michael Saunders coming up. The Coors Light Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. Rockies infield defense from 2007 through 2014. First in fielding percentage, first in total chances, first in double plays turned, and second in DRS. Defensive runs saved.
Those numbers are unbelievable.
Well, they're going to stay unbelievable as long as you're rolling out the kind of infield the Rockies are on a nightly basis. Opposite field base hit for Saunders. And now they're 2 on for Tulowitzki.
Shortstop number 2, Troy Tulowitzki.
Tulo back in the 4th inning. Took that ball to deep left center field. 12th home run, 30th RBI, slider. Did the familiar hop after he hit it. First one at Coors Field as a visitor.
He had 2 at-bats in that 6-run inning. He hit into a 5-3 double play to end that 4th.
Toronto tonight 5 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
Blonde needs to make a pitch here. Keep it a 3-run game. Stay in contact.
I think it's impressive. We just showed the 2007 to 2014 fielding percentage, and the cog in that is, of course, is Tulowitzki. And when you look at those numbers historically, how great he was, you understand why those numbers are what they are.
To right and deep right. Cargo makes a running catch. Boy, he's smooth. We're talking about infield defense. won a couple of Gold Gloves for his outfield defense.
They're playing different positions too in the outfield. Plays center, he's played left, and now he's patrolling right. Just everything is smooth as silk with Cargo. Big Papi was talking about Cargo and his swing and said it was sexy. I think his feeling sometimes the way he goes about it is sexy. Just nice and easy. Gets that ball.
There's some guys that make, you know, the old line about making things look effortless. He's one of those guys. Russell Martin, ground ball up the middle, base hit. That's going to get a run home. And Encarnacion will score. And it's 9-5. Martin with his 29th RBI.
Another 2-out hit for Toronto. Russell Martin right up the middle. 29 RBIs. Scores Encarnacion, who had walked, in the second batter of this inning.
Butler kept the Blue Jays off the board in the first and the second, and now Toronto has scored in 4 straight innings.
Well, fireworks games are almost here. It's presented by Lockheed Martin on July 8th, and then Coca-Cola and King Soopers on July 9th after the Rockies Phillies games. Tickets are still available, but going fast, so make sure you get yours for the fireworks shows.
Kevin Pillar. Single, a strikeout, reached on a fielder's choice. He has scored 2 runs this evening. Speedy center fielder takes ball 1.
Junior Lake has moved to the on-deck circle to hit for a Hap. Hap has 103 pitches tonight.
This ball well hit left center field. Charlie on the run, can't get there. 1 run is scored. Green light for Martin. He'll score. 2-run double for Pillar. And it's 11-5 Toronto.
Well, unfortunately, Johan's not really fooling anybody. Keep tagging him, and another pitch. Kevin Pillar, who fouled the ball off his knee, struck out his last time up, comes through this time with that double. That'll be Junior Lake. It's a pinch hit, 1 for 5 this season. Just his 3rd game for Toronto.
Junior Lake showed a lot of promise coming up in the Cubs organization. One ball, 1 strike. Rockies and Jays play a day game tomorrow. Rockies will travel after the game to LA. They'll have an off day on Thursday. Toronto will return home after the game tomorrow. They play Cleveland on Thursday. They open up a homestand. I don't know if anybody wants to play the Indians right now.
No, I don't think so. They've won 10 in a row. We're 15 games over 500 at 45-30. Going into tonight's game, and they won again tonight, so make that 11 in a row.
It's a good little run.
Yeah.
One and 2.
Dougie, look at something about Cleveland and have they lost since the Cavaliers won the NBA championship. I think they're undefeated since the Cavs came back from that 3-1 deficit.
That's a good one to look at.
Yeah, I think you're right. Good that
pass the mojo over.
Gets Dougie off the minivan page. 2-2. You get the one with the 17 cup holders.
Rear TV entertainment.
You better have the flat screen in there.
Yeah. No shortcuts, Dougie.
Oh boy, that's a base hit. Getting to the baseball quickly though, and a great throw to the plate. Out at the plate. What a great throw by Barnes. Brandon Barnes got to it in a hurry and threw a perfect one-hop strike to Nick Hundley to cut down Pilar.
And Pilar ran through the stop sign at third base. So Barnesy says, okay, you're going to do that, you're going to be out.
Good tag as well. This week's CenturyLink high-speed challenge answer. We asked the question, who has the most stolen bases in a season in Rockies history? Was it Eric Young, Willie Taveras, or Juan Pierre? 44% thought it was EY. And actually, it is Willie Taveras. So 36% of you were right. In 2008, Willie stole 68 bases. That's a Rocky single-season record. Joe Biagini is now on to throw for Toronto. Biagini is out of Cal Davis, same school that produced Daniel Descalso.
270 ERA. That's tied for 7th among rookie relievers. 21 strikeouts and 26 2/3. What he really tries to do, though, especially with the lefties, is get the ground balls. 29 balls put in play against Biagini. 20 have been on the ground. Fastball will be 94 to 96 miles an hour. Big curveball about 80. Slider and a changeup.
Daniel's on deck because it's Barnes, then Flande, so he'll hit for Flande, and then Charlie Blackmon. Rockies have plenty of time on offense. They're down 6, but they have 12 outs with which to work. J-Happ goes 5 innings, 5 runs, 9 hits. Happ walked 1 and struck out 3. Barnes behind 0-2. Barnes ripped a double off the base of the left field wall in the 4th and would eventually score on an RBI ground out by Blackmon.
Why does it always feel like if you make a great defensive play, you lead off the next inning?
It does feel like that happens quite a bit. It's kind of one of those baseball isms. Great play by so-and-so, and look who's leading off. Tulo hasn't lost any arm strength, has he?
Nope, still has that. Still has one of the highest fielding percentage in Major League history for a shortstop.
For the Rockies, in place of the pitcher Sunday, number 3.
Tied with Omar Vizquel, who is a wizard in his own right. Different styles.
Well, for a while, Tulo and Jimmy Rollins were going back and forth on Gold Gloves, and Vizquel had some incredible defensive years. I mean, going the whole year making 4 errors, just absurd numbers. Scalzo fouls that pitch off. So it's Cal Davis versus Cal Davis. That doesn't happen very frequently. Biagini started his collegiate career at the College of San Mateo. Rockies with the win yesterday got to 500 at home, 18-18, and after a really slow start at Coors Field, great to see. The walk-off win a couple of days ago, and then yesterday coming from 4 runs down to win. Tonight they're going to try to come from 6 runs down. 2-2.
Getting a lot of airtime for their university.
UC Davis?
Yeah.
My sister went to school there too.
Well, there you go.
The brains,
the
in
trifecta.
the brains in the family.
Oh yeah, she's a lawyer in Santa Barbara.
It's a real good school, Cal Davis. That's inside. Hey, Spilly.
Yes.
A buddy of mine bought
a minivan.
No, he bought at Rockies Fan Fest one year as a garage sale a Spielborg's jersey. Oh, he went around. That was misspelled, and he texted it to me. It was spelled Spielborgs. S-P-I-B-L-O-R-G-H-S.
True story. Clint Hurdle still calls me Spillburrows, and he would write my name on the scorecard every day. And I go, it's Spielborgs, and he goes, I don't care. You're hitting 4th or I was never hitting 4th. He's like, I don't care how you say it. You're Spilly. Just go get a hit. To this day, he still calls me Spillburrows. It's great.
It's often funny how, and I know he was doing that as a joke, but maybe not. Managers, coaches, they don't. All they care about is the. And I'm being a little facetious, but you know they don't always know the name. Remember, I know a number of football coaches that would refer to the guy who kicked as kicker.
That's all they didn't care.
Hey, kicker.
Kicker, go.
All right, go. And famously, internally at Coors Field, when Dan O'Dowd was the general manager, this is a base hit toward right center field for Charlie. So a 2-out knock for Blackmon, his 2nd hit of the night. But when Ubaldo first came to the big leagues, and he'd been in the Rockies system for a while, Dan always called him Ublado. and remember that?
He still can't say it.
And it confused me at first, because I'm thinking, I thought it was Ubaldo. And, you know, I'm asking around. Finally, I asked Dan. I said, he goes, I think it's, he goes, I don't know. Ubaldo Ubaldo? He would say Ubaldo. Finally, he came around. He
yeah.
got it right, especially more guys that Ubaldo got out. This is back up the middle, too low. Will throw out Christian Adames to end the inning. 6 innings completed, Coors Field. Toronto leading 11-5. Time for our Cooney Lexus look back. Well, Carlos Gonzalez drove in a run with a base hit in the first, and then in the bottom of the third on an 0-2 pitch, he hit one 427 feet with 2 men aboard. The Rockies had a 4-1 lead. Tulowitzki made it 4-2 with a solo home run, his first hit, his only hit right now in the series. And then Toronto ended up just pecking away. A 6-run inning, highlighted by this 3-run triple off the bat of last year's American League MVP, Josh Donaldson. Toronto got 6 in the 4th, a run in the 5th, 3 more in the 6th inning. They're up 11-5, and as we go to the 7th, it'll be Justin Miller after 2 2/3 from Johan Flande.
30th appearance for Justin. .32 2/3 innings. Now Daniel Descalso in the double switch. He'll go in for Christian Adames after pinch hitting last half inning.
Misses on Carrera, 2-0.
There are the numbers for Justin. He had a span back in May where he went 5 innings, did not allow a run, and that was probably one of his better runs this year.
And it's 3-0. The line on Johan Flande, not pretty. 2 2/3, 6 runs, 7 hits, and a walk. And a 4-pitch walk to Carrera.
Fans, the first 10,000 through the gates on Thursday, July 7th, will receive a pop socket courtesy of Brakes Plus. And you're saying a pop socket?
No, you were saying that earlier.
Well, I know I was, but here it is right here. And so it just pops out, and then it connects to the back of your phone. So then when you answer the phone, you can hold it and make it a little bit easier when you're doing it. So then it just stick it to the back of your phone. So that's. Or it can prop your phone up to watch videos. I mean, it can do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
That's why it's called the pop Suck it.
Yeah, look there.
I had to look again. Hey, folks, you know what? It's almost midnight.
That's all right.
Yeah.
2 in the morning. We're
Get some warm milk. It's time for Huey's bedtime.
Yeah. Warm milk and some cookies.
He's got to put his Spielberg jammies on. And a stolen base from Carrera.
Pretty good jump for Carrera. That'll be a second stolen base.
Well, and the timing of it, after someone comes out and Nick Hundley going to talk to Justin Miller, the focus is going to be on throwing the pitch, and Carrera knows, hey, he's not going to pay attention. I'll go high leg kick and steal second. It's like when a guy gets hit by a pitch or gets hurt, gets to first and steals second, first pitch.
Strike on Travis, 2 for 4 tonight. An RBI, a run scored for Devin Travis. Three and one after the walk to Carrera. 3-1 on Travis. And that's in the dirt. Back-to-back walks for Miller.
You're at the point of this game too, Spilly, where it's 11-5 for Justin Miller. There's not going to be a whole lot of options behind him. You want to try to get him at least 2 innings.
And he's going to go 2 innings. Right? That's what Walt's out there. You get the double switch in there for a reason. You're not going to warm up an extra arm in the pen.
Descalso in the game for Adames at second base. That's what Spilly's reference was to.
So it's kind of, you better figure it out.
Yeah.
Type of moment.
Or you can be out here for a long time.
Walt had a funny line today. I don't know how it came up. One of the reporters asked him, I guess, about who the Rockies, with the Rockies being short yesterday in particular, trying to stay away from Story and LeMahieu, if the Rockies ever had to throw a position player, who that would be. And Walt said it'd probably be Descalso, and I said, does he know that? and he laughed and he said, well, there was a game recently that was kind of out of hand, and Daniel was at third, and I got eye contact with him, and he kind of pantomimed like, you know, throw a little bit, and Daniel gave him a head nod, and so that was their conversation about that. Yeah. On the ground through the left side, a base hit for Donaldson, and that will load the bases as Carrera stops at third. Nobody out, bases loaded for Encarnacion.
First baseman, number 10, Edwin Encarnacion.
Donaldson has hit in 7 straight. He's really been on a tear. And Encarnacion, he's been on a tear also. Tonight, 3 walks, 1 intentional. He's 0 for 1. Last night, a pair of home runs. 3rd multi-home run game of the year for Encarnacion.
24th in his career, and 9 of those multi-home run games have come out on the road.
You know, the Rockies obviously didn't get a good start tonight from Eddie Butler. Last night, John Gray did a lot of good things. He ended up giving up 4 runs in 7 innings, but 8 strikeouts, no walks, and Encarnacion got him with a 2-run home run later in the ball game. But all in all, a really nice bounce-back start for John Gray. And check this out. It just goes to show you how difficult it is at times to pitch, as we all know, at Coors Field. This is down the line. Cargo's going to be able to get behind this baseball, and there's no way Carrera is going to test that arm. 1 out. To finish that thought, this year, when the Rockies get, you know, the old quality start is 3 runs or less and 6 innings pitched or better by a starting pitcher. Well, when the Rockies get a starter at home to go 6 innings or more and allow 4 runs or less, they are 12-2. So yesterday, by definition, was not a quality start for John Gray, but at Coors Field, most of the time you're going to get a win if you put up those kind of numbers, and John did yesterday.
You know, how about this too for John? He struggled early in his first couple starts, but his last 4 home starts, he's 3-0 with a 3 ERA. I mean, that just shows you some of the growth for John. It's not intimidating. But more importantly, the Rockies are 3-1 during that time in those 4 starts.
Yep. Michael Saunders 1 for 4. Singled and scored last inning. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Well, I was standing on the field getting ready to do our game open. So I'm standing on the field before the game, and John Gray walks by, walking out to the bullpen, and he had his sweater on, his hood over his head, and I hadn't seen him do this quite to this extent, where it seemed like he was going off for a serious battle. It was the best game face I've seen John Gray carry into a major league game so far. It was fun to watch.
This ball in the air to center field. Blackman slides, makes the catch. Carrera will tag, throw to third. No play there. Carrera scores run number 12 for Toronto, and Saunders has his 34th RBI this year.
Another marvelous play from Charlie in center field. Had to go back and catch one over his head to end an inning, and this time he's got to make a sliding catch on the Subaru Supermo. Carrera tags up at third to score, but then Charlie comes up firing to third base.
That's the second great play Charlie has made against Michael Saunders.
Yeah, he robbed him in that first inning on that deep, or excuse me, in the third inning on that deep drive to center. Tulo 1 for 4. Hit the ball really hard his last time up. Cargo made a nice running catch at deep right. One ball, 1 strike on Tulo. Chatted with him for a while before the game today, and he seems, you know, more at ease with kind of where he is in his career. He said, you know, I'm always going to be a grinder. He had a lot of similarities to Helton. He said, as much as I love the game, it just mentally beats you up. But he understands that with all the injuries and how much it's hurt him, not only the pain of the injuries, but not to be on the field. Said, I know I can go to sleep at night with the understanding I've done absolutely everything in my power to prepare to play and to stay healthy. And I don't know if Spilly, and you know him better than anybody, I don't know if he always was that way. I don't know if he would have arrived at that thought a couple of years ago.
And it took a lot of people along the way to help coach him up. He always talks about Helton, Matt Holliday's work ethic. He didn't have the same work ethic that he has now if he didn't have Matt Holliday around him. Talks about Rafael Betancourt all the time. And the story that you always mention is, if Rafi comes into the game, I know the Rockies were in a good place because I know that that guy put his best effort forward. So you look at all these guys that he played with, you only are as good as your teammates, and you usually pick up habits because of great teammates. Most guys aren't what they are without the help of other people.
Yep. And his work ethic is rubbed off on guys like LeMahieu and Story. Swung on and missed. So Miller strikes out Tulowitzki. A run in the inning on the sac fly by Saunders, and it's 12-5 Toronto. It's also now Wednesday morning. Toronto leading as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning as Nolan Arenado looks down at third base. We'll see another great player in Josh Donaldson. And let's compare the two this year. Batting average very close, 4 points in favor of Arenado. The slugging percentage pretty darn close. Hits, home runs, nobody. And Josh Donaldson's a really good fielder, but nobody, say maybe Manny Machado, is even in the same conversation with Nolan defensively.
I still say he has 0 errors, even though there's 1 in the category for him.
I would agree. Joe Biagini continues on.
Brandon Barnes just walked by and he was pointing at Biagini and he goes, "That guy's nasty. Curveball, good cutter, had a little sink to it." You always know when a player comes back and they look at you and they go like, "That's tough hitting right there."
Well, that's a hard thing about interleague too, you know, or a guy that's changing leagues.
Nolan drives this fair down the right field line, and it kicks to the left, and it's a double. As Guerrero actually made a really good throw in, but that's the second double of the night for Arenado in his 20th of the year.
You know, the first one was a pull to left field on a ball that was up. Now this one is a hard line drive to right field. Nolan, boy, I just love to watch his swing because his head positioning is so good. It just goes right down, tracks the barrel of the ball. And another double now for Nolan, 2 tonight.
You know, last year he set a record for third baseman with 89 extra base hits. Well, he's on pace to break that this year. He's on pace for more than 40 home runs, more than 40 doubles. And he's also thrown out a triple this year. Carr goes 3 for 3. RBI single in the first, 3-run blast to the second deck in the third, and then a rocket to left for a base hit in the 5th. And that's fouled off. As you look at his night visually,
average up to 328. There's a single that drive in Charlie, and the 3-run blast in the 3rd inning on an 0-2 pitch. Just for good measure, I'll go back to left field for another single.
And that's a base hit. Nolan around third. He'll score. It's a 5 RBI night for Cargo, and it's 12-6. He's 4 for 4. When he wakes up tomorrow morning, and
You mean today?
wait, excuse me, you're right.
Yeah.
When he wakes up later on today, when he wakes up from his nap in front of his stall in the clubhouse, he's going to find himself among the leaders in virtually every offensive category now in the National League. He's hitting .330, which is in the top 4 in the National League. He's in the top 6 in home runs. He's in the top 3 in runs scored. He's 3rd with 95 hits. Story swings and misses. He's in the top 10 in RBIs in the National League. He's got 51. He's in the top 10 in slugging percentage.
Do you know what that tells me? He should be an all-star.
There's no
I mean, those
question.
numbers you're throwing out there, those are all-star worthy numbers.
He always rises to the occasion. He's been red hot anyhow, but you know, Tulo's back in town, a guy that he was close with when he played here, but they had, you know, a rivalry where they pushed each other. And I think Troy, talking about his work ethic, it rubbed off on Cargo in that Cargo, when he first arrived as a star, for a couple of years, he'd arrive at spring training, and Spill, you were still playing. Strong, but not in necessarily the best shape. Last couple of years, when Cargo shows up in mid-February, in North Scottsdale. He is ripped.
He is ripped. I mean, and his favorite athlete in the world is Cristiano Ronaldo. I was joking a couple years ago, he would not have had the same close to abs that Ronaldo has. Now he's pretty close to it. And I gotta give the guys some credit for grinding through this game so far. Charlie Blackmon wasn't even supposed to be in this game. Made an unbelievable play last inning in center field. Nolan giving the quality at bat after midnight. Cargo continued to grind and hit the ball hard.
And they know it's a short turnaround to tomorrow's 1 o'clock game.
You're losing by 7 runs coming into the start of this inning. It's easy after this long of a delay and all this stuff to just go, you know what, I'm over it. But these guys are grinding.
These are the bats you don't want to give away.
Story bounces it foul, and we're less than 13 hours from first pitch tomorrow afternoon in the series finale. More from Michael Kadire. Most impressive thing about Story is that he has been unafraid from day one. Rare for a rookie.
How about props for Cuddy staying up this late? You're talking about the players. Well done, Michael. Well done.
Absolutely. And tomorrow morning will be that rare day where his kids do not sleep in. You know how that works.
Yeah. Daddy.
Like the day after New Year's, my wife would hit me. You're up with the kids.
Oh, come on. Daddy, let's go to the park.
Right.
Let's play.
It's 5:45 in the morning. Yeah, that's okay. I still want to go. 0-2 on Story. Nobody out, a run in. And Story slowly hit to second, and another close play. And the second baseman, Travis, just did get him. Cargo to second with 1 out, and that'll bring up Mark Reynolds, who singled in his last at bat. Oh, one of the perks about being retired, the day games after night games like tonight. A lot of perks of being retired. Not that I know anything about that. Read about it.
You read about it. Yeah, you heard about it.
Yeah, big props to Michael Kadire. Great to reconnect with Cuddy. He had some great days in a Rockies uniform, the batting title, and one of the most influential Rockies players of all time in that clubhouse. Even though he was a Rocky for 3 years. I mean, Spilly, he was aces in the locker room. Just a natural born leader in the way he goes about his business, how he conducted himself with the media in every aspect.
He's the first player I covered since being retired. We didn't really know each other until we started to talk and all these things. And without question, people would ask me, hey, how's retirement and all this stuff? And I go, it's great. I get to see this kid play every single day. I get to watch Michael Kadire play every day. And if you're going to watch one player to emulate every out of any player in the major leagues, watch that guy.
Remember how he went to first base?
That was my favorite thing in the world.
Remember, he got hurt playing third base.
Yeah,
I mean, just because that's where they needed him.
Yep.
Number 4.
Greg had a question of Michael. Cuddy, who are some of your favorite players you love to watch? And who's the one you admire right now? Spilly with the Rockies, because he treated people the way they should be treated, no matter who you were. And how about that?
I appreciate
Very
that.
nice compliment.
And that's true. I mean, we love to give Spilly a hard time, but you know, Spilly is true to who he is. That's the only nice thing we're going to say about him the rest of the evening.
Thank you. Now I can go to bed.
Yeah. We know we love you. Here's Hundley.
Was it the year that Cuddy won the batting title that he used that same bat during batting practice the whole year?
I love when guys do. Did you ever do that, Huey? Spilly, did you do that where you, and it's nice when it had tone to the bat.
Yeah.
It was natural, because then you see where the wear out,
where
just that
hit.
spot on the barrel.
I remember Nomar Garciaparra had a great one. It was one of the first ones I ever saw like that. Seth Smith had one just like it, still does. I always swung unfinished bats, so I didn't have the two tones, so I never had my bat look like that.
This is on the ground to short. Tulo's got it. And it's dropped by Encarnacion. I just flat dropped. And the Rockies get another run as Cargo scores. That was a perfect throw.
That was just a late night.
Encarnacion had a little sleep in his eyes.
Sleep deprivation, one of the two, because this is just a drop for his second air of this season. 3-hopper, Troy gets it, throws it over, think your inning's over. Nope. Didn't even settle in the webbing on the Subaru Supermo. Biagini's walking off the mound. Thinking, well, that was the end of the inning.
Here's Barnes. I'll tell you who's not resting easy right now. That's John Gibbons. Because even though he hasn't managed many games at Coors Field, he knows its reputation. He has great respect for this lineup. And Barnes hits this down the right field line, and this is foul. Well, again, big thank you to Michael Kadire. We've allowed Michael to go to bed. Thanks everyone for letting me hang out tonight with 2 a.m. rolling around. I'm out. That was a great effort. Tell the barnyard's locked in, Huey.
Spit on
good
that.
Take.
Yep. Just said, I see it out of the hand. That's the best place when you're in that box and you see it immediately. There was another one. There was another one. If you're not going well, you jump out or you maybe wave at it. When you're in one of these spots, you don't want to talk about it a whole lot. You just want to ride this wave as long as you can.
3-1, fouled off. Out there's still a lot of folks here. Are they planning on working tomorrow, or
some might be on vacation?
Could be summer break.
Summer break. Maybe they just want to say I saw all 9 innings.
Bless them. And a base hit. Going first to third's Nick Hundley. If the Rockies can take further advantage of that miscue by Encarnacion. He just looked at the ground in disgust.
Trying to look at what Brandon Barnes' batting average was to start this week. It just flashed his batting average now. He's up to 283. Let's say it was like 173 a couple days ago.
Dougie will tell us in a moment. John Gibbons going to have to double switch here. He's going to take Biagini out after an inning and 2/3.
He's going to bring in Jason Grilli,
the erstwhile Rocky.
You got Tony Walters running into the dugout as well.
Tell you about the changes when we come back. Rockies within 5. First and third, 2 outs. Jason Grilli's in the game. Daniel Descalso is at the plate. The Rockies have scored 2 here in the 7th. Second at bat for Descalso since coming in. Outside, 2-0. Jason Grilli has traveled around and he's had a fine career. Last time we saw him, he had a scary moment at Coors Field. Mark will tell you more about it in a moment. 2-0 on Descalso. Let's check in with Mark Stout. Mark.
July 11th last year, Drew, with the Braves on the hill, and he comes off trying to field this ball heading to first. He goes down and blows out his Achilles. I talked to him the day before about coming back from other serious injuries. He told me today he wanted to be back for this series because he knew what happened last year, and he was with the Jays. Joined the Jays on May 31st, and he is back on the hill.
Yeah, good for him. He's a guy that always had a great arm and really evolved as a pitcher and a late inning guy and became quite a closer.
And it didn't matter where he was doing it, you know, whether it was here, over in Atlanta, then Toronto gets him from Atlanta this year.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh was the big team he had with those saves.
And he walks Descalso to load the bases for Charlie Blackmon. I think Spilly said it right a few minutes back. How about the effort for Charlie Blackmon? You're always going to get a great effort. But Charlie mentally knew he was going to get a day off. I saw him in the clubhouse earlier, and he had an ease about him where he didn't have that game face on because he figured if I get in, it's going to be defensive late in the game or maybe as a pinch hitter. And all of a sudden, Ryan Rayburn falls sick a few minutes before the scheduled original start of the game, and Charlie's in there. And Charlie, a couple of hits, an RBI, a typical Blackmon game, and now he can make this thing really interesting.
Well, I think that rain delay probably helped out Charlie Blackmon more than anybody in the Rockies clubhouse because those extra 2 hours probably allowed him to get back in his normal routine.
Ball strike, 0-1. Blackmon, the 8th man to hit here in the 7th. Nolan started the inning with a double. Cargo singled him home. Inning should have been over on a 6-3, but on a perfect throw from Tulowitzki, and Encarnacion dropped the ball. Cargo scored. That kept the inning alive. It's inside, 1-1.
And then if Charlie reaches, Tony Walters is on deck because you think about it, you mentioned Ryan Rayburn is sick. You want to stay away from DJ if you can with the knee. So it's kind of like the last healthy man standing right now is Tony.
And if Tony pinch hits, he will stay in the game in all likelihood, because you don't want to be in a situation where if Nick Hundley got injured somehow, it's obviously a greater possibility for a catcher that you don't have a backup, so you can put Tony somewhere else on the field, and just in case he's still available. 2-1 on Blackmon. Bases full of Rockies. 7th inning. And that's a strike. 2-2.
Backdoored that slider. Charlie didn't think it was a strike. Gave the glare back and a little talking to Laz Diaz. Said, no, that worked around the corner. Pretty close on the Subaru strike zone.
Two, and 3-2.
Get the advantage of all the runners taking off, and the infielders having to make that long throw across the diamond.
John Gibbons can hardly watch. Everybody will be moving. 3-2 on Blackmon. Chance to get back in it right here for the Rockies. Drive into left center field. It'll drop. It'll score 2. And the Rockies are within 3. Charlie Blackmon delivering yet again. Three RBI night for Blackmon. What an at-bat.
He just waited him out. Wasn't happy with the second strike call. Then he gets to 3-2. Hits the ball into left center field. Scores a couple runs. Michael Saunders had to block that, knock it down. Well, you know what? Toronto took advantage of an error, a couple errors that the Rockies had in the 4th inning. Now you're taking advantage of the error to Encarnacion to extend this inning.
Yeah, Josh Donaldson is a step behind the bag, and he's moving in a little bit. Now he doesn't know Tony Walters. He laid down a bunt. Got a guy coming off, an older guy coming off a torn Achilles. You got Donaldson at 3rd that, as I said, was about a step behind the bag. 0-1 on Walters. Swung on and missed. That'll end the inning, but the Rockies end up plating 4 runs, and they're back in the ball game, believe it or not. 12-9 as we go to the 8th.
A 12-9 game as we go to the 8th. Want to say happy birthday to the first manager in Rockies history, Don Baylor, turning 67 today. Started his big league career in 1970 with the Orioles. 79, he was the AL MVP with the Angels. 87 World Series champ with the Twins. Finished his career in 89 with Walt Weiss in Oakland. And Walt had a lot of praise for Don Baylor.
There was a certain presence and an aura about Don Baylor and a respect, no matter, regardless of who you talk to. When his name comes up, there's a level of reverence when people talk about Don Baylor. He's first class, strong, silent type, you know, but great teammate. Yeah, he's one of the best I've met in this game.
So happy birthday to the guy that a lot of people know as Groove. And I know Tracy Ringlesby would often talk to me about Don Baylor. And like Walt said, the reverence that he was able to get in this game of baseball. And that's a word that a lot of people don't use, guys, but Walt used it today.
Well, Mark, I also had the good fortune of playing for Don in Chicago, and if there was a manager I enjoyed playing more for, I don't know who it was, because Don always treated his players as well as any manager. And happy birthday to Groove.
That's just who he is as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those quiet guys that Walt said it. He just commands respect, but he is as decent a person as you will ever meet. And there's a lot of similarities between Don Baylor and how he conducts himself and Walt Weiss and how he conducts himself.
They just command that respect. The way they've approached the game in their careers.
Quiet toughness.
Yeah, you didn't want to cross Groove. No.
Nope. Russell Martin up against Chad Qualls. Now the Rockies, as we talked about, keep Tony Walters in the game. DJ has come into the ball game at second base. Walters is in at short, so Story comes out. Descalso comes out. Not sure if that finger's starting to be a little sore because.
Well, it also could have been just the way the lineup is constructed now, because Qualls will go into where Descalso was ninth in the batting order. And DJ will go in where Trevor's at.
Yeah.
So maybe
Trevor was due up third though next inning.
Yeah, I know, but so maybe that finger is starting to, take effect after a few ground outs, and maybe it had been that last one because he hit it right off the end of the bat where it will vibrate that finger.
Qualls ahead 1-2 on Martin. Yeah, I would think that something flared up with the finger because Walt wanted to stay away from LeMahieu tonight and let him go tomorrow. Give him another full night's rest, full day off the leg.
Well, I was able to watch him as DJ's running out to the field.
That's going to stay fair. Of course it will.
Well, as DJ's running out onto the field, Charlie Blackmon seeing DJ running out to second base, sprinted in from center field all the way to the infield to console DJ, make sure his buddy was okay. He said, "Hey, you okay?" DJ's like, "I'm fine." "You sure?" Like, "Yeah, I'm good." Had to talk Charlie into letting him stay on the field.
I don't know if I've seen something like that before.
No, I haven't, but just tells you the respect of your teammates that you have. Well, those coming in to see how are you doing, and don't try to be a hero here.
Pilar at the plate. Those two are very, very close, and great respect, as you were saying, for one another. I know what high regard everybody holds DJ in, but in particular Charlie calls him the smartest baseball guy he knows. That's a strike, 1-1.
And then you're going to have a couple interesting things here happen if the ball's hit on the ground. First, you got Tony Walters at shortstop. He has played one inning there. He turned a game inning double play earlier this year. But you also have DJ with his knee trying to make a turn at second base. So a couple guys that really obviously haven't worked too much together.
A base hit to right, and now they're 2 on.
And you had Russell Martin at first base, who we've already seen will slide hard into second. So there was a level of concern for me just sitting here just on that last play. Like, oh, don't hit it on the ground.
12 runs, 15 hits for Toronto, 9 runs, 14 hits for the Rockies. 1 error on Toronto, 2 errors on the Rockies, both on pitchers. Butler committed 1, Flande committed 1. Butler lasted 3 1/3, 5 runs, 4 earned, 5 hits, 3 walks. Flande 2 2/3, 6 runs on 7 hits. Ryan Goins, who came in for Tulowitzki in the double switches at the plate. First at bat, he's going to be bunting. And Hundley, I thought for a moment, may take a shot at third, getting the force kind of right in front of him. But he elected to take the safe out at first. The day after every Rockies win, get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. Use the promo code ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com. If you're still up, you probably are hungry. It's not a bad opportunity right now to call Papa John's, right?
I do that on the way home.
Sully already made the phone call.
Oh, he did. Every night after that.
Ezekiel Carrera with the infield in. Rockies down by 3. But again, they were down by 7 prior to the last half inning.
Toronto 9 for 17 tonight with runners in scoring position.
It's a big reason why the Rockies have seen Toronto score 12 times. Qual's not a big strikeout guy, but if somehow he could summon one right here, it would be huge. Carrera has had a good ball game. He's 2 for 3 and a pair of walks. He's driven in a couple runs. He's stolen a base. Martin and Pilar. Pilar can really run at second. And this is top to first, and that's a nice pickup. And DJ, Spilly's, he's right in front of you. He got there. How's he moving?
He's really not moving too well. I mean, he's moving, but not well.
Just to watch him run over there tells you about some guts from DJ.
And all of his teammates are checking up on him. I mean, Mark Reynolds was looking at him, making sure. Already showed you Charlie getting there.
And you know it's going to be some wacky play.
He's already had 2. He had to cover on bunt coverage.
And then a 3 to 4 put out at first base.
Yeah, you see that about.
Not on a bunt.
Yeah, you see that about once every 3 months. One strike on Devin Travis.
That's the unfortunate part about just the way this game is unfolded. There's no reason that the Rockies ever wanted him to be out there, but he has to be out there.
Shot at Reynolds, and all he can do is knock it down, and a run scores. Travis hit a bullet. Martin scores. Pilar to third. 13-9.
You could hear off the crack of the bat how hard he hit it. Mark just able to knock it down. Travis with the base hit. I mean, if he doesn't knock it down, it's 2 runs. For Chad Qualls, he gave up 3 runs in his last outing, 1 tonight, but he had gone 8 scoreless before that.
Josh Donaldson, 2 for 4 and a walk, 3-run triple in the 4th inning. Swung on and missed. Oh, 2. 10 hits tonight with runners in scoring position for the Blue Jays is a season high. Ground ball to short to Tony. He'll go to LeMahieu. So the baseball naturally found the 2 guys that came on the field. LeMahieu hobbled on the field. Walters in shortstop for the 2nd time in his big league career. 13-9. Here's our Kubota pitching performance tonight. We'll look at the 2 starters. It was Jay Happ and Eddie Butler. And Happ gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. Eddie Butler gave up 5 runs, 4 earned in just 3 1/3, 86 pitches to navigate those 10 outs. So neither starting pitcher will figure in the decision. Actually, Happ is still on the plus side, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Happ's still on the plus side. Maybe let me rephrase that. Neither starting pitcher is going to be real pleased with their performance. Jason Grilli to Nolan Arenado, and it's a strike. So it's now an 0-2 count as that touches the outside corner. Nolan 2 doubles tonight, 4 at bats. He has scored 2 runs. Cargo, who's on deck, is 4 for 4 with 5 ribbies.
2 doubles tonight. That gives him 20 on the season.
Well, the weather just changed down here on the field. It is starting to howl. The wind is whipping around, and it's probably dropped a couple degrees.
64 degrees, it says on the scoreboard.
Was it during batting practice? About 95.
We've seen everything today. Here's the great thing about Loto Magic, about this lineup. The Rockies believe they can win this game. They have 6 outs. They just scored 4 last inning. Toronto's bullpen has been up and down all year.
And there's still only that magic number of 4, that grand slam, tying it up.
2-2. Another guy who's going to be sore tomorrow morning. That's Laz Diaz.
Not tomorrow morning, Drew.
It is tomorrow. My bad.
Today morning.
My bad. Second time. Double up on the lashes. Really strikes out Nolan. 1 out.
You can fill out your 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot now at Rockies.com on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Vote up to 35 times at Rockies.com/vote. And get out and vote.
I voted earlier.
You don't even have to get out. You can sit right there. You just pull the phone out and type it wherever you are.
Yeah. Cargo has had a special night again. 4 for 4, including a 3-run home run. He's driven in 5. It's the 9th time in his career he has driven in at least 5 in a game. His career high is 7. And he's hit missiles in every direction tonight. First 3 hits were left on left against Jay Happ. One and one. Batting average up to .330.
Going to be interesting next inning, especially if the Rockies are able to get a couple base runners this inning, if Ryan Rayburn is available at all to pinch hit, because there's no one left.
Really strikes out Cargo. 2 outs.
And now we're going to have another double switch from John Gibbons. Probably be Darwin Barney for Travis at second base. And that's what it will be.
The managers are looking around the dugout. Go, who didn't get in yet?
Who's left? No one's raising their hand either. Like, I'm good.
Jason Grilli strikes out the last 3 hitters he faced. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com, and by GMC. 13-9 Toronto. This is the only game going still in the big leagues. DJ LeMahieu's first at bat of the night, and he takes a swinging strike. Roberto Osuna.
41 strikeouts in just 33 in a third inning. The fastball we saw coming out of the gate at 95. Will touch 96 and go all the way up to about 98, 99. And he backs it up with the slider, about 10 miles off of that in the high 80s.
Osuna's been one of the steady hands late in games for Toronto. Here's Darwin Barney now at second.
Osuna is their closer. 15 saves on the season.
Strikes out LeMahieu. A 1-2-3 eighth inning, all punch outs, 2 by Grilli, 1 by Osuna. Will go to the ninth, 13-9 Blue Jays.
rapper and a kid into a pumpkin.
No, that's my job.
Oh, okay.
But good try.
It's 12:55. We welcome you back to center field. We are getting ready for the Toyota post-game show and not the pre-game show. However, we should be getting ready for that as well because that's coming up in less than 12 hours. Jenny Kavnar, Corey Sullivan. We'll wrap up this baseball game. It's been quite an adventure today, no doubt about that.
It has. The Rockies offense showed up once again, but unfortunately the pitching couldn't do it. But we're going to put a little bow on the post-game show.
Put a nice little bow on it. You guys awake? Anyone?
Hello?
Anyone? Did you guys take a nap?
I'm here.
You guys still there?
Yeah.
Fry.
You guys?
Okay, just checking.
Okay.
How many cups of coffee, Huey,
What?
have you had?
Coffee? What coffee? I'm good. I'm good.
Red
All
Bull
right.
straight into your veins? You
Yes.
guys got that going on right now?
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Spilly. Wake up. Wake up.
Spilla.
Wake up.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to know what the nightmare is? It's tomorrow, and you got to do the game at 1.
That's right.
By the way, if you're just waking up on your couch right now, this isn't the replay. This is live television.
We think. Jason Mott is now in the game, and this is picked off. How about this play? Unfortunately, Ryan Rayburn at first. That's right, that's Rayburn at first. Could not make the pick. But that was a pretty nice play by Walters.
Well, and he also had to
infield hit.
Yeah, dodge Mark Reynolds. Yeah, that's right, Mark Reynolds, who is now at second base for DJ. So you got a lot of guys out of position. Tony ranges to his left, and how far did he have to go? A long, long way. And then,
Number 21, Michael Summers.
Well,
you know, I'm happy that that ball didn't go into that camera well for an error for Tony because of what he had to just do right there. That would have been an unfortunate error.
This is how crazy this game has been for the Rockies. Ryan Rayburn's now at first base. He was in the original lineup in left field. Brandon Barnes was at center. Charlie Blackmon was going to get the day off. DJ LeMahieu needed another day with that sore knee, was hoping to be in the starting lineup tomorrow. This ball's up the middle, a base hit for Saunders. 2 on. And then a little bobble out there. Now moving from second to third is Encarnacion.
Yeah, and Charlie's going to get an error on that one. That's going to be frustrating for him as well.
Well, Saunders with his second hit tonight. And Charlie just picked up the head, didn't get the ball into the glove. And off the end of the glove on the Subaru Supermo, allowing Encarnacion to advance to third.
Darwin Barney is up. So Rayburn fell ill before the ball game, but evidently he's well enough in an emergency situation, because clearly DJ LeMahieu was compromised and Walt wanted to get him off the field. So he moves Reynolds from first to second. Mark Reynolds has 14 innings of experience at second base in his major league career. He came up as a third baseman, so I mean, and originally he was a shortstop at the University of Virginia for a while in pro ball. So it's, for him being there, it's
probably
not
messed
completely
around
foreign.
over there
Yeah.
now and is taking ground balls.
He's a good athlete, so.
But what you hope doesn't happen, or you just hope that there wasn't any sort of setback with DJ. Well, you know, because he had to come out and play, and it was an awkward couple tough plays. But now, will he be able to go tomorrow? That's the big question with the day off on Thursday. Now he might be pushed back to Friday.
Well, you have your doubts. Story had to come out of the game also.
Yeah, good point.
So you may be without those two guys again tomorrow. Rayburn making his 15th appearance at first base, his first since 2014. You got Tony Walters at shortstop. And the only guy right now in the infield at his natural position is Nolan.
He's Tony and Mark are.
I'm trying to figure out.
Am I supposed? Is
who's got the coverage?
Well, hold on. Is my mouth open mean I cover, or mouth closed?
Yep, Tony's got the coverage, and he can't hang on to that baseball on the throw from Mott. So another run scores, and It's 14-9.
Well, Jason, it's a comebacker. Just immediately throws to second base. And that's where the lack of experience, trying to figure out where the ball's going as you're trying to drag your foot, and you get neither. You get the ball that pops out of the glove. For Jason, he also didn't check the runner at third base because he might have had to play at home to get that lead run.
So it's a fielder's choice, an RBI for Barney, and it's an error on Walters. Rockies with 4 errors in the game. This is turning into, well, it's been that way maybe for a while now, a forgettable night. Once again, the reason you're still up watching baseball at 1 in the morning is that it rained, it hailed, it thundered, it lightninged, it did everything for an hour and a half right around game time. So the game was delayed 2 hours and 41 minutes. And there was long conversations with the powers that be as to whether or not the game would be played tonight. I'm sure there was discussions about playing 2 tomorrow. Ultimately, it's turned into a solid night to play. The conditions have been good ever since Mark Razzman and his crew did a great job at cleaning up the field and all the water and the hail.
And again, I think it needs to be stated what the job that Mark Razzman does on this field is par excellence. I mean, it's the #1 field in baseball for a reason. It's Mark and his crew.
And they have to deal with crazy weather. Swung on and missed. Martin's gone. It's the first out of the inning.
Well, fans, you can elect a Rockies player to celebrate during the Thursday, July 7th game. Buy the ticket package and get the exclusive player T-shirt. Buy your special ticket, you get a Nolan Arenado 28 T-shirt to celebrate on July 7th.
Kevin Pillar fouls it off. You start thinking about tomorrow for Walt. I mean,
well, I'm sure they already
I keep saying tomorrow, later today. I mean, Rayburn's out there. He was sick. You hope he checks out all right when he shows up at the yard in a few hours. You have Story. Don't know what his situation is. Don't know the situation with LeMahieu. He played 1 inning and had to come off.
Boy, and you know that Tony's going to be behind the plate after all this 3.5 hours, going on 4 hours that Nick's had to catch behind the plate. Short turnaround.
Tyler Anderson's going for the Rockies
and
tomorrow.
I'm sure they sent those Tyler home earlier.
Yeah.
You know, 10:30, 11. Just go home.
Get out of here.
Just go. You don't need to sit here and watch this. You get the rest because we're going to need you tomorrow to fill in and go deep into the game.
Things were so crazy last night. Tyler Anderson pinch hit and had a sac bunt.
And those are some of the issues, though, that you have when you only have a 4-man bench. You get a couple guys hurt. You need to rely on some of your pitchers to do those sort of things.
Toronto, Hugh, I'm just looking up at the scoreboard. They didn't score in the first, didn't score in the second. They've scored every run since then. Cargo is going to get there.
You look at the way that the Rockies bench is set up, and you guys were talking about DJ and Trevor. Well, at times like this, when you have a game like we're watching tonight with the quick turnaround, at times it forces teams to make quick DL decisions. And I've seen that before, where a guy's maybe a day or two off from being back on the field, where they have to put you on the disabled list because they needed players, they needed bodies.
I don't even know if you can get a body here.
Well, Albuquerque does have a day off today, or Wednesday, however you want to look at it, and then they go to Sacramento.
The Rockies could, because of the proximity, but that would have to be orchestrated probably in the last you know,
10
couple
minutes.
hours or whatever, you know.
An hour ago.
Reaching somebody in the middle of the night. Glenn Allen Hill, and then trying to reach a player who's sound asleep. Say, hey, by the way, you're on an 8 a.m. flight tomorrow. Goins hits a bouncer to Rayburn. And he flips to Mott to end the inning. Another run for Toronto in the 9th inning. It is 14-9 as we go to the bottom of the 9th. They have 18 hits tonight. The Rockies 14 hits. The Rockies have committed 4 errors. Mark Reynolds, now a second baseman, is going to lead things off. Don't forget, the Rockies have eclipsed the 7-run mark. So go to your participating Taco Bell locations tomorrow between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. It's later today, actually. Liv Moss at Taco Bell. We are exactly 12 hours from first pitch tomorrow. Reynolds swings at the first pitch. Goins throws him out. 1 out. It's Justin Smoke now at first base. Smoke had his hand raised in the dugout. John Gibbons saw that and he said, "Oh, you hadn't played? Okay."
But it wasn't. He didn't raise it very high.
Yeah,
half-hearted hand raise.
The only position player not to play for Toronto tonight is their backup catcher, Josh Tolley.
Who will play tomorrow?
Yeah, he's going to play.
100%.
He's going to play in 12
Today,
hours.
not tomorrow.
And against
keep
the lefty.
saying that.
And Tolley's a left-handed hitting catcher. He's going to be facing Tyler Anderson, so it's a perfect draw for him.
Yeah, come to think of it, it's a little surprising that they didn't play
start
Tolley
tonight
against Butler, the righty, and then bring Martin back.
Unless he wanted to give Martin that 36 hours off, you know, play him tonight, not play tomorrow, and then they have the night game in Toronto on Thursday night.
It could be. Only went 0-2. And after all, Tolley against lefties is hitting .045. He's 1 for 22.
Grew up in Colorado, and he grew up right down the street, and he was saying that he's sleeping at his own bed in his old house with the same old trophies and everything hanging from the walls.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Russell Martin's over it right now. Kidding me? That went through the 5-hole. He went and the mask flew off.
I've been back here forever.
Really? You have to throw a 58-footer?
Oh.
Give me a baseball. Oh, again? Really?
So I bet you Russell right now just flashes the #1 down there. Here's a fastball, you throw it. Don't check anything else.
He may put it over his head right now. 1. Just yell it. And it was hit well by Nick, deep center field. Pilar makes a great running catch. And robs Hundley of a double. Boy, Nick hit the heck out of that.
Seen Pilar make quite a few highlight catches. This wasn't quite a highlight reel catch, but he ran a long way for it. Looks it in and then just has one step to brace himself before he hits the wall. Zuna, of course, likes it. Says, yes, thank you.
Oh, and 1 on Barnes. Brandon with a 6-game hitting streak. 2 for 4 tonight, double and a single, scored a couple runs. Continues to swing the bat real well. This is on the ground to short. Goins throws to first, and that will end the ball game. A long, long night at Coors Field. And Toronto, for the first time in their history, has won a game at Coors Field. The final score, 14-9. We've seen cleaner played games. The Rockies went through everybody on their 25-man roster, at least among position players, and several in the bullpen tonight. 14-9, the final score. Toronto wins it after a 2-hour and 41-minute rain delay. The final out recorded at 1:12 in the morning, and in less than 12 hours, first pitch in the series rubber game. Let's get to center field right now, Jenny and Corey. Jenny, all yours.
Well, this is what makes it so fun. It's just a loss, but guess what? Today you get another game.
You get another opportunity to get a W. That's not too bad, right?
That's exactly
What is bad was when you give up runs in 7 of your 9 innings pitched. That's terrible. We'll talk about it in a minute.